Okay, let's get started.
Just raise your glasses high. This one's for
Amy.
Oh, O'Reilly Hamilton.
Holy
Yow!
Holy shit. Holy shit. That's the first time I swear that you've ever done that.
My friends put me up to it, I'll be honest.
They did?
We were watching Vanderpump last night and we were talking about how one of my friends said that she always like is singing that tune, and then another friend of ours that used to work with you said that you get that a lot, and I was like, how have I not deployed that yet?
It was the perfect time. I was blown away. I was expecting beautiful sing-song, my name, maybe demon voice. To hear that, the theme song to O'Reilly Auto Parts, it was perfect. Thank you.
I had a sip of Savi B and went insane.
It was so good. I love that Auto Parts theme song.
It's good.
Yeah. Is that a local company? Do we only, as Angelinos, get to experience that?
Good question. I've only ever really lived here, so
You would, yeah. We don't.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, if people don't know the O'Reilly Auto Parts theme song, or you've never been to O'Reilly's for auto parts, you have to go. It's one of the best places. And
Buy your headlight bulbs, windshield wipers, oil.
Yeah, oil, whatever. I mean, imagine something that breaks down in your car. Go to O'Reilly Auto Parts, and wow, thank you, Amy. That was really nice, and thanks to your friends who said that.
Yeah,
I appreciate
we cherish them.
I wanted to say something. First of all, I know that sometimes people watch on YouTube. Have you seen that?
Yeah,
Isn't that nice?
a good number.
A good number of people. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's sort of like you don't think that you have to explain something because this is an audio podcast where the video is sort of supplementary. But definitely, I guess if you're wondering now what's going on when you look at the YouTube, I just wanted to say Amy and I, after sort of a rough season of Vanderpump Rules, commenting on it for how long have we been recapping season 11, would you say?
15 weeks.
Yeah, 15 weeks of that we decided to take a much needed hotel sort of vacation, Amy and I, so that's where we're at now.
Yeah, we're Riley's under the covers. I'm above the covers, but we're cozy on this episode.
Yeah, we're having a little bit of fun. I was sleeping earlier, and then Amy woke me up, which I think is, I'm ready to go. I'm
Wake
fully
up.
Yeah, it was really sweet. I'm awake now. I'm ready to go. And then you woke me up. You said, Riley, wake up. We not only have to record Turtle Time, but I just saw breaking news on TikTok. And I said, what was it? And will you tell me what you woke me up to?
Do you mean the video that I thought was funny?
Yeah.
You guys probably saw it by now because I saw it got some traction. Kyle Richards was parked outside of a Starbucks or something, and a little mouse was hanging out on her like driver's side mirror, which was, fancy new cars always like they close in automatically.
Fancy new cars.
The side mirrors.
Oh, right. When they go into a spot or whatever, they have all their mirrors fold up. I know what you're talking about.
So there's a little mouse, like a truly so cute, like cartoon-like sweet mouse was just tucked in between the little mirror and the side of her car.
It's not squeezed.
No, he was okay. He was able to move, but she was afraid to do anything with her car, like turn it on or do anything because she was afraid it was going to like then deploy and then squish him. So she was like tripping balls. She was, oh my God. Oh, why? What is he doing? What is that? Why is he looking at me like that? And it's literally like a 3-minute video, maybe longer, of her just losing her shit. And I don't even know why she posted it because she just comes off insane. And she literally says, why is he looking at me like that? And they cut to the mouse and he's just like, meep, meep.
Is it, you got it, because this video lives or dies whether or not it's a cute mouse or not.
Super cute.
Really?
Adorable.
Furry?
So
fuzzy?
Cute. Like you would cast him as a cute mouse.
I've been thinking about little Fievel this whole time from Fievel Goes West.
Adorable. Like not anything to be afraid of. Like I understand if like a mouse like ran past you unexpectedly or something, you'd be like, ah! But he's just like, just right there chilling.
And he looked cute with a little smile on his face.
Super cute.
Kyle she shouldn't have teased that out early. She should have saved that for Beverly Hills season 14, the premiere.
Yeah, the finale.
She should have said, yeah, they had to wait the full season. Then finally she says what happened in that. Was it, you said it was outside Starbucks?
Something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Beverly Hills is going to have two major storylines, Dorit and PK
Yeah.
separating, and then Kyle, what happened with her and that mouse.
Yeah.
Beverly Hills is going to be good.
Yeah. We didn't talk about bringing this up, but I did see that there was a Atlanta cast announcement.
Yes, I saw that. I almost wrote to you. I almost said, Amy, this is important, for us to look at. I was kind of, I was a little shocked by it because it's Portia, Kenya, Shamia.
Yeah.
And then
Shamia. That's her first time having a peach, right?
Yes. And then I think almost an entirely new cast. So it's almost like a reboot with two OGs, and then I think Shamia, and then like no one else that you know.
Sheree out.
Sheree's out. Marlo's out.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's like a reboot, like what they did with Roni, but then they kept two OGs. It's almost like they learned from the Roni mistake a little bit.
Well, I don't even know what to say anymore with these casting decisions. I'm kind of like, I guess we'll see.
Wait and see. Yeah.
Like, what do I know?
It's a lot for Portia and Kenya to take on the legacy of Atlanta on their own and deal with an entirely new cast. And I also remember that Kenya said something which I thought was very good on the Carlos King podcast, where she said that now new cast members on these franchises, they just become an instant like friend of or a full-time cast member without having to like fight for it. And she said that her and Portia had to literally fight to secure their spot as Peaches by being friends of for like multiple seasons. And she said that like it's kind of a detriment to the show to just pluck people out of obscurity and just throw them to the wolves because they're just not tried and true and tested. So that this might be her worst case scenario.
Right. Interesting. Well, I don't know. We'll see. You know what? I'll be honest, I didn't watch New Jersey this week.
Oh, okay. I watched the first 2 episodes, I think, and I liked it.
You did?
Well, it's very complicated.
Okay.
Do you think it's complicated?
You think because of like the historical dynamics?
Yes. I'm an avid Jersey watcher, and I watched all of last season, and I enjoyed it, I think, more than most. But even I sort of can't keep up with the shifting conflict on New Jersey. Like some of the stuff they're talking about, like it didn't make sense to me that Rachel and Danielle, the new cast members, were sort of like they hated each other for a full season, and then they instantly just buried the hatchet, and they're now like good friends, and they talk about each other like, I would never betray Rachel. And it's like, I didn't even know you guys were friends.
Right.
It's like moving a little too fast for me. And there's too many cast members. I think.
I watched the first one, and then I put on the second one as like casual viewing, and within like 5 to 7 minutes I was like, this is too much. I was like, I need to watch this like when I can pay attention.
So you felt like me.
Yeah.
It was a little too much to follow.
Yeah, and I think it's going to take me a while to like care.
Yeah.
Like to give a shit about what's going on, especially because like with like Teresa and Melissa of it all, it is a little shocking to me that they just are going to coexist still. They're both allowed to be on the show still.
Yeah.
It seems like they don't really, I mean, we'll see what happened, but Melissa in the first one was like, I don't want to talk about her this season.
Yes. I think what's finally happened is that Melissa is now just as powerful as Teresa on the show, and now no longer thinks that she has to make storylines that are just fully indebted to her drama with Teresa. So she's trying to have a season where she charts a course without any of that being the main juice that she derives conflict from.
Yeah.
But the show is just a war between Melissa and Teresa.
Yeah.
Like it's how many people Teresa can flip to be her loyal friends to try to bring the cast over to her side and subvert Melissa's dominance in a way.
Right.
And then Margaret is sort of like a powerful figure just sort of vacillating and doing whatever she wants.
Right.
In that world. But she also hates Teresa now.
Right. Did you see Margaret's tagline?
Yeah, it was please remind me, but I
one of our Patreons commented, and I looked it up independently after that, but I think it's like while these bitches are taking pot shots, I'm taking screenshots.
Yeah, I loved it. I really liked Teresa's too.
Was it that about? She
said when
refers to herself as a tree.
Yeah, she said when a tree falls in the woods, does anyone even ever hear it? Do you know what I'm talking about? I think it was something like that. But then Margaret, yeah, but I didn't understand. Like, I think New Jersey is so complicated, which this is my fault. I mean, if we're talking about Jersey, I will definitely get back in the mix and understand. But I don't even know what Margaret's referring to. Is she a receipts person? Is that what she's trying to? I didn't know. That's not how I identify as Margaret.
Right.
I mean, it's a good thing to say for all housewives.
I didn't think about it too deeply. I was just like, yeah, that's like you're holding people accountable. But I guess she did have that thing last reunion about how Louis like extorted her son or whatever.
Yeah, I didn't like that part. Well, I get why Margaret would say I'm never dealing with Teresa again. I really like Fuda.
Yeah.
John Fuda. I love John Fuda. I think he's amazing. I think he's like perfect. Like he was just like an AI
he's down to clown, but he also he's not like a try hard.
Yeah.
Like he seems like he's like, well, if I'm here, I'll do a good job, but he's not like desperate.
No, he doesn't have desperate energy. He feels like he just fits right in, and he's a great cast member already. He's going toe to toe with Teresa.
Yeah.
So I really like that. And then it does seem like there's a little bit of Louis stuff lingering in the season
that's
preview.
like the main thing that's drawing me is that clip where they have like it's like an audio quote with no video where she's like, he pissed all our money away. And I'm like, now this I'm interested in.
Because it's kind of like, I mean, when the downfall of Louis happens, we'll all say, like, I told you so. But it just seems like it is so messy already at the start of their relationship that, like, this just has to fall. Like, there just has to be a downfall of this couple because it just started so bad.
I know. But it's, like, depressing. Like, because I get a lot of old New Jersey clips on TikTok, and I just watched the one when Teresa comes home from being away and all the girls running in and whatever. And I'm like, man, like even though she's fucking annoying, like in certain ways and like spreads rumors about everyone and says horrible shit.
Yeah, I'm one of the biggest hypocrites.
Yeah. I'm like, also, I'm not a fan of this like dildo rumor they're starting right off the bat. It's like giving homophobic. Oh, yeah. I hate it.
Did he use a double-sided dildo?
Yeah,
at
it's
one
just like
point in his life.
Talk about pot shot. It's just like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
But I do wish that she could like find a man that's not a scammer.
Me too.
Like that's so depressing.
Yeah, she really did have a sort of like villain arc up to a point within that like that point of redemption in like season 8 or whenever she went to jail and she came back like humbled and zen. Namaste, and like really she changed.
Yeah.
Like her outlook was like positivity. Like she just wanted to be around her daughters, and then like
she's like Jesse, right? Only for 10 minutes after his ayahuasca trip.
Exactly. Except it took like 4 seasons to get the fall of Teresa again, where now she's worse, as bad as she's ever been.
Yeah. It's dark. I feel like, I don't know. Maybe it's despite her time away, she thought that she had gotten to the bottom of everything that she went through, but ultimately it was maybe too much for one person.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, I mean, I'm going to keep watching Jersey, and I think we'll probably once Summer House and Vanderpump is fully over, like we're gonna have to talk about Jersey.
Yeah, no, we will. I've just been overwhelmed by
same
I mean
here.
We talked about the Vanderpump finale for 3 hours, so not much time for anything else. But what else did we say was gonna be up front? Nothing.
We just said the Kyle Mouse video, which I think we talked about. Until she's ready to provide further information about that, I think we just got to leave that where it is, right? I mean, did she give any closure to it?
No, she didn't even say what happened at the end.
Okay, well, let's follow up, and then well, I guess before we talk about the reunion part 1, I did want to say you brought up a great idea that you said someone brought to mind, which we won't say the full details, but Amy and I are thinking about having like sort of a small BravoCon, sort of BravoCon light maybe TurtleCon or something.
TurtleCon, and the only appearance will be Zach from the Valley.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure I'll just be. This is like a fourth wall break, which we can break the fourth wall on Turtle Time. But Zach Wickham just commented on TikTok. He gave me fire emojis and laughing, crying emojis. So I think almost for sure, if I DM'd him, he could come to TurtleCon on November 14th. We just need to choose where we want to do it at.
Yeah.
Like,
I bet if we told Jax, like, hey, like, we're promising you 20 to 30 patrons.
Yeah.
Are you down?
Yeah, and if he's still good with Zach Wickham, which I assume he is, then that's a perfect shoe-in.
Yeah.
Right?
We can have Zach wear one of our merch hats backwards.
Oh, I would love that. A Turtle Time hat?
Yeah.
And then we'll pay him, let's see. We'll pay him...
Drink tickets.
He can have 3 drink coupons, Turtle Time official coupons. What would that be at Jax's? Probably $12 a drink? $36?
I think we can handle it.
Okay, so around November, Little Turtle Cuties and Villa Rosa VIPs, get ready for TurtleCon. It's gonna we can only have.
I told Riley, he said it. The words have come out of his mouth, and now we're actually gonna have to honor this.
But here's the thing, though.
Here's the caveat.
Here's the caveat. Jackson Studio City can only hold so many people, probably about 40 people. So, and then it's going to be Zach Wickham, which he'll be great, and we're paying him $36.
This is gonna be like Woodstock '99. We like absolutely can't handle this at all.
There's
There's like a
Firefest.
mudslide. And like little cheese sandwiches.
Yeah, all of a sudden, Fred Durst is playing in that water tower or whatever is being destroyed. Yeah, okay. Well, let's not make it. We're not making Firefest 2.0. This is going to be TurtleCon, and we haven't even said what day it's going to be on.
TurtleCon. You did already say a date.
Here's my dream. It's 20 of our most beautiful Villa Rosa VIPs and maybe some Little Turtle Cuties. We all go to Jack's Studio City. Zach just kind of walks around, but he's not obligated to talk to anyone. That's his choice.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's called and then we'll pay him in drink coupons. Maybe Jax and Brittany will be there, but that's not guaranteed.
Yeah, we don't know what they're doing.
No, we can't guarantee them in November.
The thing is, they might ship all these Bravo people out to the Olympics. They might be in
Jax
well,
and
they'll
Brittany,
be over by then.
Were they supposed to commentate on the Olympics?
Oh my gosh, is there hockey for the Olympics?
I think so.
They should hire Jax.
Is it it's the Winter Olympics, right?
No, summer.
Oh.
So I was thinking about, because we heard that they are canceling BravoCon this year to focus on the Olympics.
Now that makes even less sense. That
I know.
it's
I'm like, it's
Olympics.
after. They're in France in like July.
Oh, great.
Paris.
All right. Well, I can't. Well, whatever. I mean, this is for people who, if you got really sad that you couldn't go to BravoCon, we want just 15 of you to go to Jackson Studio City in November, and Zach Wickham might be there.
Maybe we could have a cardboard cutout of Andy and like a few others that we could afford.
Oh, okay. Ooh, can we keep it to 2?
Should we just have a GoFundMe?
I'm thinking full budget of this thing should be $100. So
Wait.
$36.
I also heard, I didn't do any research. I just believe my friend that told me this. You know how Ann Maddox was the bartender at Watch What Happens last night?
Yeah, of course.
Apparently she had to pay for her own flight, and she crowdsourced on Instagram.
No, who said that? Did you find that out through the internet?
My friend told me that, which I assume she saw herself online.
Okay. Oh, that's too bad. I mean, obviously,
Why
I would do
didn't
that.
Katie and Ariana pay?
I don't
She
know.
was, promoting something about her.
Do you think we could get Ann and Zach?
If that's the best we can do, God help us. But yeah.
Wait, what do you mean? Ann and Zach?
Well, actually, she got a Duracell spawn, so
Yeah.
maybe she doesn't need us.
Well, no, I know. She doesn't need us, but I think we should have at least, like you said, a cardboard cutout of Andy, a cardboard cutout of Jax in case he's not there, and then Zach.
And then Ann and Zach.
Yeah.
That's so killer.
TurtleCon 2024. And it's just...
It's in the alley behind Jackson's.
Why, you don't think we could get access? What if we... everyone has to keep their cool. You can't say this is TurtleCon, because that would...
Then they'd charge us.
Jax would...
It's like when you don't tell like an event space that it's a wedding, because they'll charge you up the ass.
How do you do that?
You're like, it's a...
Bachelor party?
Yeah, birthday.
It's a birthday?
Did you see Andy? He really gave Anne a lot of camera time.
He loved Anne.
And on his own Instagram stories, he did a like selfie video with her, and it was like, Anne's here, and he was like, hey, like, I don't know what you have going on, but would you want to be my assistant? And she goes, would I want to what? And he goes, be my assistant? And she goes, oh yeah. And I was like, you fucking blew it. He has millions of followers. He let you do a little role play with him and you didn't hear him.
She said, oh yeah.
She was like, what?
Oh no. Oh no. But
the way I would never ask what, I would just be like, oh yeah.
I would say yes too.
100%.
Me too. Yes. Okay, well, I'm sorry that she did that, but she'll recover. But she's one of the most sought after assistants now in history.
Her Watch What Happens 5 was trash.
Damn.
Everyone keeps flopping those.
I think
ours would be good.
Here's what's going on. Ours would be so good. Amy and Riley, what are the top 5 Bravo celebrities that you can get to go to your TurtleCon? Right? Zach.
And
and Jen Pedranti.
Oh yeah,
Jen Pedranti and Ryan.
OC. Yeah,
Ryan.
Oh my God, did you hear Ryan's scandal?
Yeah, he unfortunately did.
The Dodgers bookie scandal.
Oh, he was part of the huge scandal.
Ohtani's
Do you know anything?
translator was using. It's a long story.
Do you know anything about that though? Like, oh, okay. I haven't. I don't know anything about it. I just hear that scandal.
Yeah.
But he's a part of it.
He received funds.
Received funds from. Okay, he's kind of like a mini Louis. We already talked about that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well,
but like that's such a big, like that's a huge. You know, I'm not in the sports realm, but like I live in a Dodger house, and it's a big thing. And that's like the number one sports scandal right now. And of course, this fucking guy is involved.
How did he benefit from it?
Well, it just showed that he was like wrapped up in this like betting, which I think it's more illegal on the side of the translator because he was using Ohtani's name and they're obviously not supposed to be doing sports betting.
Okay, so the translator for Ohtani, I have an Ohtani bobblehead, by the way.
You do?
I told you, yeah. For when he was in the Angels.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's really
That's
rare.
probably worth shit now.
Yeah, it's worth $36, so I'm going to sell it to pay for
My
Ryan's.
sister collects bobbleheads. She has like 100.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's not a bobblehead, it's a snow globe.
Oh.
Do you like that more or less? Less, right?
Well,
Less.
I personally would prefer to have a snow globe, but my sister specifically collects bobbleheads.
Well, do you
Bobblehead.
Oh my gosh, was that? Who says that again?
Mary Cosby.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that with Ryan's legal trouble, he might be more enticed to get those free drink coupons at Jackson Studio City?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I wonder if they'll even be allowed to talk about that.
on that. Oh yeah, he might just say it's a legal issue. All right. Well, Zach and Ryan, Jen Pedranti, and then the wild card. We'll say
Cedric.
That would be good because then Lisa would get to know where he was.
Yeah. Did you watch What
did.
Happens?
Yeah.
I was so glad that someone asked about him.
Yeah. Lisa said, I think he's in she said he's in some sort of. I mean,
Chud tunnel.
Yeah. I mean, she's had no idea where she was, but she said she said, but please don't resurface your head back in public again. I would have thought, knowing Cedric's personality, that there would already be like TMZ footage of him in, the Chud tunnel or whatever, covered in garbage, saying, "Here I am. It's where I've been for 5 years or whatever."
I know that'd be a good scoop.
Yeah. Do you want to find out where he is? I just said that, but I don't want to know where he is, to be honest. I don't.
No, he's scary.
One of my
Talk about scammer.
Yeah, he's one of the most loathsome people in the Bravo universe, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Well, we talked about a lot. You said Anne's watch what what's it called? The Final Five?
Yeah.
I think
Watch What Happens 5.
Whoever is coaching those people needs to tell them that they want to like snappy, funny, not real answers to it.
Yeah.
Because I think Carl, Lindsay, and if 3 people in a row get the wrong vibe, someone's not telling them. And
I mean,
Anne
also
kept saying,
Andy's are never good either. It's maybe just a bunk segment altogether.
Do you think he just has to get rid of it? Watch What Happens 5?
I don't get why they're so obsessed with it. I think it's a filler, like if they have time,
Oh, it's like so Anne got
like
to do
they're
it
like if I have
time.
like 1 minute.
Why did Anne keep saying moment one? Did you hear that when she did that? Moment one.
Oh.
I didn't really understand how they it. Just I think you're right. I think it's we can figure out how to make that better. But I think that,
I would lose so much sleep
thinking about ours.
if we had to do it.
Okay, so you don't want to workshop it now.
We would have to do like a cocaine binge and stay up for 2 weeks straight to do it.
That would be the best time of our lives. Go to the Victorsville or whatever, where what's his name wrote Citizen Kane, do a bunch of lines of coke, and come up with the best Watch What Happens 5 that Andy's ever heard.
He would give us a standing ovation.
What if he said that's the best? This is normally filler, but now we want to make this a segment. Can you continue to teach people how to do this?
He'd be like, I never wanted to have you guys on this show because I have loyalty to Ramona and Avery, but now that I have, actually, fuck them.
Fuck them, and guess who's coming to TurtleCon?
Andy Cohen?
Andy? He kind of bumps. Oh, whatever. No. If Zach still wants to do it and Ann still want to do it, that's fine. But Zach, Ann, Andy Cohen at
and
TurtleCon?
then maybe John Mayer, too, because they always hang out.
John Mayer? I mean, now it's like, who's not going? But please, if that's the people coming, we still have to keep it to 15 to 20 because we can't let anybody know that it's TurtleCon.
Right. Well, we could maybe do it if Andy's coming when he's in LA. I mean, he posts about this. I'm not doxing him. He stays at Sunset Tower. Oh. So we could do it at the Tower Bar.
Is that easy for people to get in?
Well, if we're keeping it small.
Okay, all right. Well, if you want to be the coveted 15 who goes to TurtleCon at the Sunset Tower bar when Andy is in Los Angeles.
And we'll get shrimp cocktail and martinis.
Oh, that would be so fun. So we're planning this. Hopefully he comes in November, or we just do TBD whenever he's in LA.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. Well, for having no news, just the Kyle Mouse story, I think we did good. 26 minutes, right?
Great.
Do you feel like should we steamroll ahead to Vanderpump?
I'm down.
And then take a certified turtle piss break after?
Sure.
Okay.
What was your gut about? I thought that I was anticipating pure dog shit because I feel like it's hard when it's a 3-parter. I feel like they usually give you nothing on the first one. And I actually thought this one was pretty entertaining.
Yeah, I'm the opposite, so I think expectations affected me. I get so excited for reunions, you know, but you're right. Like, all the reunions I've ever seen, you're normally binging through them, or like the part ones are always like lackluster for the most part. So I don't know why I have high expectations for part 1, but it was good because I am interested in almost everything they say at this point.
Yeah.
So overall it was good. And like, what could be explosive at this point in the part 1? Like, what are we really looking for?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm like, my expectations were fine. It wasn't like a huge blowout, the most fun thing I've ever seen, but also it was good to hear their answers about this stuff. And I think there was enough fun to tide me over until part 2 and part 3.
Yeah. No, I'm curious to get into it because I feel like the Lala of it all, has begun.
Yeah. At this point, I don't know if you felt this way, but at this point, Ariana absolutely does not know the full extent to what Lala did for the final 10 minutes of the finale.
Yeah.
And so right now, Ariana does not expect what Lala was doing in all the confessionals, right?
Right. I mean, yeah. Ariana confirms this reunion that she, in fact, did not watch a single episode of the season, which, again, we talked about last episode. Like, on a human level, I understand.
Yeah.
People will give her a lot of leeway there, saying, like, she would be re-traumatized. Like, I get that. Like, obviously, self-care wise, I get that.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, you're making $250,000 a year to participate. So what the fuck?
Yeah. I can't excuse it either. As one of the biggest, Ariana defenders in life, what could have been easy for her is just listen to all the Turtle Time recaps. And if she didn't have time, why not listen to it in sort of a
on the subway, in her dressing room.
Yeah, and we're not so awful to listen to where she doesn't have to get re-traumatized. We put it through sort of a silly mirror. Maybe that would have been easier. Yeah. So she didn't listen to any Turtle Time, I guess you could imagine.
Right, or have Anne do bullet points for you.
Yeah, but I thought that she was going to say, "Have you seen my life? I'm much too busy." Mm-hmm. I really thought she was just going to say I'm too busy, but I guess that excuse would not fly for anyone.
Well, she said, where was it that we always say how confusing it has become to figure out where someone said something, whether it was the after show or Watch What Happens or whatever. But she said before, it was like, she's like, I'm on fucking Broadway. Like, I have to do 8 shows a week.
Yeah.
I don't have time to live in that headspace.
Yeah.
Which I totally get, like, in reality.
Yeah.
But
Someone could have done the digest.
yeah, give, like, Anne write the minutes. Brad write the minutes.
Yeah. I mean, I and, you know, another thing is that Ariana really did not come off ultimately that bad. I mean, she said she was so rage-filled and, like, she doesn't like where her head was at. But, I mean, everyone rode for her and loves her towards the end of it. So she doesn't really have to have, like, you know, one eye closed as she watches
No,
this.
I think she just wanted to, like, she checked the box of filming the season. She was like, thank God that's fucking over.
And then
That was
didn't wanna go
awful.
back to it.
And then was like, great, I get to move on to shit I actually enjoy and I don't want to think about that ever again, which means, sorry, but she should quit.
Because she doesn't want it.
She doesn't like it. She doesn't want to do it.
I know. Well, let's leave. If it's bad for Ariana's mental health to be a part of Vanderpump Rules, which I know at a certain point it was. I don't know if now it's like more, you know, hospitable to her because of the new position that she's in on the show. But, you know, so you think if it's bad for her, she should leave. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, she already said before, I'm not giving Tom's version of history any credence here, but, like, it sounds like there was a conversation that if they broke up, she would be done with the show.
Yes. Yeah, that's the question. Did Ariana always hate Vanderpump Rules and hate the fans? Like, because the fans were divided on her, I think, or, you know, maybe mostly 50-50 on her. And then when season 10 came around and she became the most celebrated person from this franchise and the most famous Bravo celebrity for a really long time, did that change her outlook on what Vanderpump Rules means to people?
Right. I think it's like she started it and participated in it as a job for years. It was hopefully going to become a bridge to greater opportunities, which ultimately it did. But for a while there, it was looking like it wasn't going to get her all the way to what she had dreamed of doing.
Yeah.
So she was like, all right, we're going to do the sandwich shop. That's going to be my thing on the side.
That was within the Vanderpump Rules universe.
Yeah, but, like, removed where, like, she technically could still quit and then just have the sandwich shop still.
Yes.
And then all heavens rained down upon her and she got to do fucking Broadway, which is her ultimate dream of all time.
Yeah.
And she's like, fuck. Like, I'm sure she's, like, appreciative that the show is what brought her that opportunity, but she's like, all right, cool. Can I be done now? Like, I got the thing. Can I be done?
Yeah, but I'll say this. This is not about Ariana, but this is a true Hollywood lesson. And the only example I can think of is like when like Steve Carell is doing great or whatever. But or Topher Grace is the best example on that 70s show.
Whew, haven't heard that name in a while.
Why?
What do you mean, why?
You just haven't heard of him in a while?
What is he doing?
I was afraid that he was. I was afraid he got really canceled, and I just brought him up.
I mean, no. The Danny Masterson might have rubbed off on him, but I don't think so.
So Topher Grace, I think it's a bad strategy when you leave the thing that earned you all the goodwill of the world and got you your popularity, and then you leave that thing, and then you watch people sputter out and try to be in movies, and then their career just ends.
Did he quit that 70s
He
show?
did, yeah.
Like, prematurely?
He hated everybody on it. But then when you think about what Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis and Danny Masterson and Wilmer
Valderrama
were all doing, maybe he was like, fuck this cast. Like,
yeah, these guys suck.
I mean, but I think in their mind, he was the dickhead.
Sure.
Not to talk about that 70s show too much, but that was the only example I could think about where people who get really popular on a sitcom or something that they consider trash.
Yeah. That's
they
what
leave
Constance Wu did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. She's a much better example. Why did I talk about Topher Grace? She is actively talking shit about Fresh Off the Boat, where she made her name and her fame and all of her fans. And then she's like, this show sucks and now I can't do a movie. And no offense, I don't know what she's doing now. She had a good career after. But usually if you burn the bridge... Yeah. Right. I don't follow her and I don't know.
She did Hustlers and then she did... Little Shop of Horrors off Broadway, which everyone said she couldn't sing.
Oh, I did not hear the latest on Constance Wu. My thing is just that don't leave for greener. The grass is always greener.
Yeah.
Don't leave the thing that got you all the goodwill that everyone loved you from, and then try to sputter out in Hollywood, which eats people up and spits them out. And then you have nothing, and you almost tarnish the legacy of the thing that brought you all the fame. Like that 70s show when Topher Grace left was pure shit. It was Seth Meyers' brother on it.
Oh, right. And then they did that 80s show.
Yeah, and that was shit too. I'm just saying this is just this going back to Ariana, I would say Ariana, this is not advice because I can't give Ariana advice, but I would just say don't look at Vanderpump Rules as like the stepping stone that you need to get away from. Keep the thing that made you and that gave you all that goodwill and fun, and don't, I guess, run away from it because you never know in 3 to 5 years what the future looks like.
Right. No, I mean, I'm very excited just on a personal level to see what happens because, like I was saying before, I don't freaking know what the path forward should be. So I'm like, just tell me what it's going to be, who's going to be on the Valley, what does Vanderpump Rules look like? Like, just let me know, and I'll just deal with it.
Did you see Jax's gatekeeping ass
What
on
did he say?
Jax and Brittany when reality hits?
No.
He said, no one else from Vanderpump Rules is coming on the Valley. He said, absolutely not. He said, over
He said
my
that like
dead...
months ago.
Yeah, no, recently.
They did that on what?
He said, over my dead body.
But what? Oh, on their podcast?
Yes. Sorry, when reality
I was thinking
hits.
of that. I was confusing it with their like recap
He-
show, and I was like, wait,
Oh,
that's still happening.
on Watch Vanderpump Rules with Jackson, which was just like this test balloon to see if like they were still canceled or not.
Right.
No, he said over.
Yeah, right.
He said over my dead body.
He's full of shit.
But it's funny. I think it's so funny to me. It's so Jax that he would be like, no, we're doing great over here. Your show is the one that's sinking like the Titanic. No one can jump ship on my show. You guys didn't give a shit about me when I was fired or whatever.
Right.
Now I started my own thing, and that's the lifeboat
Right.
for you all. And
Yeah.
he said no more. He goes, I
As
think
if he is in charge.
he said he created it.
I don't think he has a creator credit.
Created by Jax Taylor and Alex Baskin. But I do think it's just funny to say that, as himself. I just think it's interesting to be like, and he also said he gave a good excuse, which is that I don't think it's fair to the cast that we have that is just starting to blossom, which I do think that's true. We are seeing this cast blossom on the Valley. It's not fair to just put in some heavy hitters from Vanderpump Rules and squander the cast that is just burgeoning.
Right.
Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I know I am. This was the first week where I was like, oh, Janet's like a little bit diabolical, huh?
Yeah, she's on the cusp of becoming like a supervillain.
Yeah.
And no one has realized yet except Zach and
It's
Kristen.
just funny for like a woman. Is this wrong to say? Like
Go for
a
it.
woman that's so very pregnant to be revealing herself as like a villain. It's just kind of funny.
Yeah, there's archetypes for that.
And
Pregnant
then, yeah.
villains.
Meanwhile, Nia is like the sweetest of sweet
Yeah.
motherly types.
Oh, and she loves Kristen so much. Like she got really sad. Not to go to the Valley yet, but like she loves Kristen, and it was so. I mean, it was
Yeah.
so sad. Like
No, what I did do this week is buy a new Kristen Doty t-shirt from our collection because I was like, we need to support her out on these streets.
yeah, and I can't. I nothing. What Janet is doing, I think, is awful. I mean, I feel like she's actively trying to kick Kristen off a show that was built on the legacy of Kristen, Jax, and Brittany.
It's a bold move.
Her calling it a baby moon
Yeah.
when it's a cast trip
Right.
with all the cast is horrible to
Yeah.
exclude her from that.
No, I love it's diabolical. It's entertaining though.
Oh, we're talking about right. So we're
Okay, but we should get back to the reunion.
Okay, so you want to just pick, why don't you say the things that spark joy? Because it's hard to recap reunions because
Yeah.
it's just a bunch of mess.
Sure.
Did you watch the extended, right?
Yeah, I watched it regular and then extended. And as always, the extended one is better. There's like so much like breathing room.
Yes, I thought of you when I saw this, when Andy Cohen said, how the hell do you two live in this pigsty?
Yes.
He goes, it's a mess. And
He's like, so you two both live like shit.
yeah. And he goes, he goes, walk me through what's happening in your brains when you both create mess like that in your homes. And then Ariana says, I was purging all my clothes. She said, I want to burn
That
most
was a
of
cop
this.
out.
You think?
We have clips from well before Scandival of her living like a pig.
You Do you think that...
And they did give Sandoval a generous cut showing his clean room.
But he was actively cleaning it.
Okay.
No, he's clean. No, I'm saying he
was making his bed.
Okay. Oh, wait, but I thought we saw instances of his house being messy.
Well, post party.
Okay.
But
all right, well, being a messy spirit is not indicative of anyone's character.
I didn't say
no,
that.
I know.
I love that Andy called them out for that because
Me too.
They're just like fun little things where I'm like, yeah, can't we make fun of someone for something dumb like that?
I agree.
It's not like so serious.
Yeah, right. It's okay if they have flies and smelly lines coming up from their clothes. It's okay. But I just thought you would think it was fun that he...
I wish that was in the full cut.
That was for the uncensored.
Yeah.
Like, that was
well,
like
that's
the rated...
the funny thing is that the uncensored, it essentially was just like more fun stuff included. It was nothing major. It was nothing particularly shocking. It was just like when he asked Ariana about Broadway, they showed a bunch of photos of her from her previous like theatrical experience. And I was like, why wouldn't they just include that before?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, why is that like a special
just cut for
edition?
time.
I guess so.
You know? Okay.
But I'm like, this is the biggest thing on Bravo right now. Why don't they just make it? I mean, I assume it's to lure us over to Peacock because that's their big thing right now. But I'm like, can't you just make the broadcast version longer?
Well, they have to deal with, the, what are they called? The network.
Right.
And those people are like, they do not want things to be 51 minutes. But I think that...
Why not? More ad time.
Yeah, but then they have to bump, Watch What Happens Live, or they can't get as many commercials in. And I'm not speaking out of school when I talk about the corporate side of TV.
Don't get me started.
Like, who are we talking about? NBC... these people, I mean, they want as much money as they can get out of that. So more uncensored rated R content like Messy Rooms cuts into Duracell and Uber Eats and stuff like that.
Sure.
But I do think that Peacock is, I love more than, I love extended, but I also love explicit because I still get a thrill of hearing them throw out F-bombs.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So yeah, at the very top of this, the first thing you see is Andy asking Lisa if she's caught up. And she said the only thing she hasn't seen is this last piece that we know they're going to show everyone, which I'm like, am I missing something? Because I really don't think it's that shocking, but I guess Ariana will find it shocking. But I don't think, to me, it wasn't such a bombshell.
Well, okay. She has Sandoval screaming at Jeremiah that Ariana hates him and that she hates everyone, all of her friends.
Whatever.
Right. She'll chalk that up to Tom Sandoval being a horrible person. Lala, getting very angry about Ariana being a detriment to the season with that.
She said as much this whole time.
Not to her?
Well, it's not our fault that Ariana hasn't watched the show. I'm just saying, like, the fact that they're framing it are they specifically doing it to be like, Ariana, guess what? But like,
well, I think that
I just don't like.
I was
Lala
shocked.
has been telling us this sentiment the whole time.
Okay, so you're saying if she would have watched the show, she would have already known Lala's trajectory. She wouldn't be that blown away by hearing Lala say she's taking food. What did I? To be honest, I have to remember what Lala was screaming.
It was about God, like someone gets cheated on, becomes God.
And that she can't believe that why would anyone film or why would anyone set rules with filming someone when you live in the same house? Which
sure,
I still think
she said that 1 billion times.
Okay, well, I mean, Sheena also concurring with Lala. I mean, I thought it was a shocking way to end the episode, so I imagine Ariana hearing this venting, screaming with Jeremiah as well about how she's a detriment to the show is like how much they relied on that moment, how they needed it more than anything for her to have a crying session with Sandoval as the only hope for their finale. I think it's like, I don't know, it's going to be, I think for her, shocking to watch. But the only reason, you are right, the only reason they get that moment is because she didn't do what she should have done, which is watch the full season.
Yeah.
And then she wouldn't be so
I didn't think it was shocking that she left the party, and I didn't think it was that. I was shocked that they were so pissed that she left the party. That was shocking to me, but I wasn't surprised that, like, the sentiment is what they've been saying the whole time.
Well-
but that bled into what Lala's big crusade in this first part reunion is saying, Katie, you talked shit to me, and why wouldn't you bring it up on camera? Which I held by what I said before, that Katie definitely talks shit, but at the same time, I understand why she wouldn't want to make it a thing.
Yes. Why? Well, okay. So I want to, in an effort to be nuanced, I don't want to ride so hard for Ariana and Katie, like, I like, because I want to just be fully honest with my feelings, but
Yeah.
Katie, to me, and I don't want to come off as like I'm just playing to the crowd or whatever, because we've said controversial shit millions
say
of times.
what you think.
Yeah, this is what I think. Katie's answer to me justified what she did.
Yeah.
If Katie even said for one scene in this season, hey, Ariana, I mean, when you skipped out to Broadway and you didn't pay that bill, that kind of left me in the lurch. If we had one scene of that, the entire world would not have revolted around Katie. It would have been within context. It would have made sense. You and I would have understood as we talk about it. So I understood what Katie was saying, which is that I wasn't actively feeling that. I vented to a friend about two things, and we worked on them. And then I'm not going to bring that up as my arc for the season, because I don't feel like you, Lala.
Yeah.
I don't feel like you. I'm not begrudging Ariana. I'm not holding on for dear life that Vanderpump Rules is going to get canceled if Ariana doesn't have sit-down scenes with Sandoval like Lala is. Mm-hmm. Katie is much more assured. And when Katie says, I mean, when you put Lala's authenticity against Katie's authenticity and Lala calling into question Katie's, I mean, it's no contest.
Sure, but I did love I thought it was a little bit of a slam dunk, Lala revealing that text message.
That Katie said, the DM that Katie said, go to therapy because you're a clown?
She said, fire your legal team. You need a therapist, you fucking clown.
Wait, you mean on Katie's side, right?
No, she's a savage.
Oh, wait, I thought, wait.
I'm just saying, are you shocked that your relationship was in disrepair after saying that to someone?
Right. Okay. Oh, so why? but I think Katie has acknowledged why her friendship with Lala is fizzling out, right? That she wasn't keeping that.
No, but that's an insane thing to say to someone.
Right, but
I just get a little bit where I'm like, I think the girl boss of it all sometimes, it's I'm a fucking cunt. Don't come for me. I'm a a cool bitch. And I'm like, I'm not concerned about Lala. I'm not like, how dare you say that to her? But I'm like, that's a wild thing to say to someone.
Right. I mean, yeah, okay. Yeah, I wasn't,
sometimes I think she just gets to be she gets a pass for being tough or something.
Right.
And I'm like, that's just mean. That is mean.
Right. Okay. Her saying, well, what was can you remind me, because we're going ahead a little bit. Can you remind me? So this was after the Jeremiah call where Lala and Katie were getting into a disagreement about
the Ariana representation of it all, I guess.
Yeah. So
or was it? I got a little confused on that
Me
timeline
too.
because they already had issues, so I don't know exactly when that was.
Okay, if the point is that obviously Katie should know that things are not good between her and Lala, and Lala is right to be upset with Katie over something like that, because I am very much not on Lala's side, and I have no idea what led up to Katie saying that to Lala. I thought it was funny. But if they were friends at the time, and that came out of nowhere, obviously, yeah, I couldn't defend that. But in this context here, and knowing how Lala has been positioning herself and what she was trying to do for this entire reunion, I kind of thought that was, I thought, I don't know, someone calling Lala a clown is kind of interesting for me to hear at this point, because I've never been a huge Lala stan. I've never been. And so this is kind of the nadir for me of Lala's trajectory on Vanderpump Rules. Mm-hmm. I think that she was grasping at straws to try to find anyone else that could secretly, align with her as she pitted herself against Ariana for the full season, and the fans did not come with her. Mm-hmm. So she was kind of grasping, for anything. Again, a life raft to save her, to be like, didn't you say something bad about Ariana once?
Yeah.
And what about you? And you? And,
Yeah.
then Lisa is like, wait, Lala, I'll get on there with you. I hate Ariana too. Are we talking shit? And Lala's like, wait, sorry, no, Lisa, I don't want to be aligned with whatever you're doing. I'm talking shit about Ariana on my own here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of odd to beg someone that's your friend to be like, you were talking shit, like, to get them to, I guess, own up to maybe one or two things that they said shitty about their good friend now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I also, the last like haterade thing I'll say is just the humiliation of them rolling the clip of them saying they were going to open something about her last May.
Yes.
And that them now saying again that it would be open by the time that this reunion aired, and that it's still not open. Even though I know it's going to be supposedly next week. I'm like, what all-nighter did you need to pull to make that fact true? Like, why didn't you do it?
No, that's you're right. I have to go with you there. Like,
A show that millions of people are watching, you don't want to make good on that announcement?
How many thousands went to something about her who were not on the internet and just went there to go see that it's open? I mean, for a lot of people, that would be how you found out that something about her was open, right?
No.
You don't think?
Instagram.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I'm just saying that you told the world, you announced to the world that it was open.
Well, they I guess they preemptively contradicted that when they announced it on Watch What Happens Live, saying like end of May or whatever. But yeah, it's like,
yeah, I don't know how
it's embarrassing.
I don't know how that could happen. I really don't. I don't know how they have to explain. I mean, they would have to explain. We thought the date this was going to air. This was the second part of the reunion. I mean, they knew it was the first part, but
right.
Yeah, I don't know. But I guess
did they forget that they said that?
I don't know. That was not. There's not a lot of things that happen like that. Where it's like we are launching this thing. This is a hard launch. It will definitely be open, and then it's not.
Yeah, I saw Katie post today that they have a new awning.
I saw that too. That was giving the the fans a little hope.
Yeah, I do like that Andy is steadfast on that information. And then whatever. There's like the update on the house with Sandoval and Ariana. It's boring. It's the same old shit because she hasn't even bought a house yet at this point, so it's old news.
Yeah. They're really everyone, Lisa included, Lala, everyone thinks that if you're in the house with someone, it's you have no say in anything. Like, I don't know where, like, Lisa is now saying the same thing. Like, she's quoting Lala on Watch What Happens Live. I really don't understand it. Mm-hmm. Do you?
No, it's pretty weak. I don't know. It's like, to a certain extent, once I would understand it as if I was a friend who had to keep hearing about the issues of them living under the same roof. I'd be like, either like move out or I don't want to fucking hear about it anymore.
Right.
Like, I'm sick of it.
Yeah.
But like someone in like Lala's amount of involvement, it's like, who really fucking cares? Especially because she essentially was working and traveling that entire time.
Yeah.
Like, she got jobs immediately starting last March and has been so busy this whole time that I'm like, she was never fucking there.
Yeah. I just can't even like get into the headspace where that's like your argumentative like win. Like that's like your last debate move where you're like if you're in the house, you have to have scenes on Vanderpump Rules. Like
I would get if it was like, if she was refusing to even, which I think maybe at first she was, like, be near him at all, then you'd be like, but you literally are like around within 200 yards of him at all times. So like, you have to at least agree to film, which ultimately she did.
Right.
And she was like, that doesn't mean I have to actually talk to him. So it's kind of weak.
They gave us a Rachel update. Everyone has so much hatred for Rachel, and congrats to all of them. Rachel is going to have a new episode dedicated to this for sure.
Oh my gosh, when Lisa's like, the nonsense on that podcast, and Sandoval goes, you listen to that thing?
Yeah, he was like, he absolutely hates it, and he let his feelings be known about Rachel. I was kind of shocked. I know I shouldn't, expect anything, more from Tom Sandoval at this point, but his outspokenness towards Rachel, I was kind of stunned.
Yeah.
He said she's a coward. he said, he concurred with Katie that she has no soul, right?
Yeah. I'm kind of obsessed with what Schwartz said. I kind of want a t-shirt. It says, he goes, she was ruthless in her pursuit of pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. Like,
What a sentence.
I know. It was great. It was a perfect Schwartz statement. Absolutely.
Ruthless in her pursuit of pleasure. I'm like me ordering Taco Bell at 2 a.m. when I'm drunk.
Completely ruthless. And then Tom Sandoval painted another, a little, an extra layer of Sandoval again by saying, I forget, he said, did he say, was she a victim? Or it was about the grooming stuff, which
This
we don't have
was
to get
a
into.
dark area.
Yeah, this was
I was
dark.
kind of like amazed that they brought up all this stuff because I was like, this could go like legally sideways very quickly. Like the lawsuit and like the, ethics of the video itself and how he got
That's
it.
what I'm
and
saying.
like,
I feel like Tom Sandoval's sort of playing with fire here.
I know.
And,
I was like, ugh.
and then what did he say? Well, I was impressionable when she when she took all of her clothes off and jumped into my pool. I was like,
That was amazing. Like, because it reminded me that he's literally a moron.
yeah,
Like, he's dumb.
yeah. And
So like they were, Sandoval was outraged that Rachel accused him of grooming because he said that's slander because it implies pedophilia. Because generally, I will disagree with Lala. I think generally the implication with the word grooming is that it's an underage person.
I mean, like, it is the definition.
Yeah, like,
if you
look it
look
up.
it up, and for years we accepted that as the definition. That's what everyone thinks it means. So if Lala wants to change the definition, or if Rachel does, either call it a new word or work on getting the world to accept the new definition. But as of now, what Sandoval said is true.
Right. So Lala was trying to say it could include like a power discrepancy or whatever.
But Lala was also, she wanted to account for why she said it on the boat, because she said, you're a groomer.
Right.
And so she wanted to say that her definition was the right one.
Which also, like, politically right now, to like bring up that word is like the most like hot fire word on planet Earth right now, with like conspiracies and like just like, I'm like, I don't want anything to do with that word. I don't want to mention that ever.
So I think me neither. Let's not say it. We might not even be able to have our podcast be up. But I'm just saying, either make a new word for that, or change the definition. But as of now, that word means, what we all thought it did before this season of Vanderpump Rules, and what Rachel said.
So Lala's like, yeah, it could be someone who's impressionable that you're taking advantage of or whatever. And Tom goes, well, I was very impressionable when she took all her clothes off and jumped in my pool, which is like, honestly, it's like brilliant. Like, it's so funny to say that.
Do you think it's because it is so brash of him to still
it's just so stupid, like to be accused of like manipulating someone younger with less power than you into like sleeping with you and having an affair, and to be like, well, I was manipulated by her bare tits.
Yeah, I mean,
like, I couldn't help myself.
Right. Yeah, totally. I thought this entire time, I just felt like I don't think Tom Sandoval should disparage Rachel anymore.
No, he should shut the fuck up.
Let everyone else do that.
Yeah.
If they want. I really don't want to hear your thoughts on Rachel. And I think he's a little bit trying to get audience, sympathy at this point, knowing that we all, I guess, dislike Rachel more than him potentially, at this time.
Yeah. What did you feel? I don't want to be a bitch, but the part when Andy was saying like, he asked them if they regret how gnarly they were last reunion, and Lala said she stood by everything she said, which I was like, well, that's interesting. And Ariana agreed that she stood by everything she said, and I was like, really?
Demented, subhuman.
Fuck yourself with a cheese grater.
Well, so you're right. Okay.
And then she goes, she's like, absolutely, I stood up to my perpetrators.
Yeah.
I was like, that's quite a sentence.
Okay. I'll go with you there.
Perpetrators?
I mean,
it's correct.
They perpetrated.
The vocabulary is correct.
Yes. So
I was surprised by the choice of words.
Right. There's some I don't want to say spin, but there's some preparing for that question and having an at hand answer that sounds good. Do I personally wish that Ariana would have said, I regret saying, what was it? Fuck yourself?
Fuck
with
yourself with a cheese grater.
And calling
you're
her.
like worthless on
and
this
calling
earth
her
or whatever.
calling her a chud. And, subhuman. Do I wish that Ariana would have said, I no longer feel that way? Yes. But I think that she doesn't want, if she's not ready yet to account for any, harsh words yet that she said.
Yeah.
But I do, it would have been just as powerful or probably more powerful for me to hear Ariana say, I do regret calling her demented scum.
Yeah. And I will say, I mean, Andy sort of teed it up. He goes, well, I imagine she said that she was, I don't know her exact words, but she essentially, Ariana said that she was proud of herself or surprised that she could even get there, which I agree. But Andy said like, well, I imagine it was pretty hard for Rachel too. And Lala, even though she's annoying, I kind of respect that she was like, it's crazy, like reminding us how scary of a world it was for Rachel and Tom to get on that stage with zero allies.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, it's like the scariest place on earth. Like, if you made like a dreamscape, like a hellscape of like,
and it's
a
like
scary scenario.
James is looking at you and his eyebrows are darted and he's rubbing his hands together as you walk out.
I mean,
onto
the clip they showed at the beginning, everyone just was going, boo.
Yeah. Really, though, looking back, and I know we said this, but like, thinking even that Lala has to account for anything she said, I'm like, what were you saying? What were you saying back then? You had nothing to do with it.
Right.
I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Her and James were screaming, heckling, booing, talking more than anyone else, than Ariana, Katie, or whatever. So I'm like, I mean, it just reminded me like, yeah, Lala was the most vocal one. And I feel like she was the most vocal one in this.
Oh, yeah. Very vocal.
Her percentage of talking on the reunion to what she actually brings to the table is so askew in my mind.
She
I'm
like talks more than Andy.
I know.
Yeah.
Like, she treats the reunions like this is, I have to sing for my supper. I have to get another season.
Yeah. No, it was like she was extremely ever present. I did like the joke of they asked after like the lawsuit stuff, Andy asked James what he thinks about all of this, and he goes, I'm exhausted, I'm so sick of talking about her and all of this or whatever. And Andy goes, well, you're the one that introduced her to the group. And he goes, sorry guys, sorry Tom.
Yeah, that was sweet. I like the apology to Tom. Yeah, that was great. Do you think a part of it, this is my down and dirty stinker minute, but do you think a part of it is that like James is pretty withheld, talking about Rachel overall.
Yeah.
Like is a part, I'm sure it's a part of him is just like, I don't want to touch the beehive a little bit.
Yeah, or it like bums him out more than he's willing to admit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he said one word, about Rachel the entire time.
Yeah, I know. I think it kind of really did break his heart.
Yeah.
One thing I did highlight was, we don't have to get too into it because it's kind of hard to talk about, but there was an entire segment about
you can say it. Trigger warning for people who
suicidal thoughts.
Right.
Both about Ariana and about Tom, which, is gnarly. But within this segment, Tom says, because he says he has his ups and downs still, and that he's heavily scrutinized to this day with everything he does. And he goes, he says, I'm not the smartest dude. And I was like, he knows?
I wrote that down too. I said, Tom just said about himself that he's not smart. He's never said that in his life. He goes, I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I don't know why, but I don't like people to know that or
it's
say
sad.
that. I want people who, like me, who I'm, dumb as a box of rocks. I just don't want to know what the world is like when Einstein is walking around.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's like
ignorance is bliss.
Ignorance is bliss, exactly. I didn't want him to know that. I go, Tom Sandoval. I go, don't beat yourself up like that. Don't say that. But I feel like through Scandival, it made him. Some people say it's to get people on his side. Like, oh, I'm just a big old dummy.
I think he realized.
I think so too.
He's a little dummy.
I thought that was sad.
It was really sad.
Don't say that.
Sorry.
Tom, you're smart. We don't have to give you
No,
compliments.
he's so dumb.
You-
And when he brought up,
Hey, wait, that's a you. I mean, I don't think he should.
he doesn't have good thinking skills.
Okay, critical thinking. So we don't have to talk too much about intelligence, but like when Schwartz and Jax and Sandoval are together, I always thought it was like. Well, I don't want to get too much into it.
All three of them make one regular man.
No, because Schwartz is like the genius out of them, right?
Which is saying something.
But he is.
He has a great way with words, but I think he lacks intelligence in other ways.
But he was going to be a doctor.
Well,
He. I think he chose. I think he was in the.
do you think he's good at math?
Yeah.
You do?
Yes, I think we've talked about this. I think he's a secret genius.
Okay.
I just never thought that Tom Sandoval would ever get to the point with even, you can call it pride, you can call it ego, but I never thought I would hear him say that, and he said it. I'm not the smartest man.
Yeah, he's just very inarticulate, and like that comes into play during the Andy brings up the George Floyd
Yeah.
quote.
A lot of hot topics.
Right.
Grooming, suicide, George Floyd.
Yeah, which like Lala tried to throw him a bone and like decipher what he was trying to say, which I understood what he was trying to say.
We talked about when it happened.
Yeah,
I mean,
like I knew what he was trying to say, but it's like, don't utter
I know.
that. And then when he tried to say it again, he was like, I was just trying to say that he called it a cheating scandal on a guilty pleasure reality show was sandwiched between the war in Ukraine and some other shit.
Yeah,
he couldn't come up with a second example.
He should have said Ukraine. He should have said O.J. Simpson, Ukraine.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't think people would have gotten mad about that.
Yeah. So he had to talk about that. That was a part of his, where he, admonished himself for not being intelligent.
Sure.
Right?
But it's like, yeah, if he had said it properly, it would make sense. Like, yeah, there are more important things going on. Why does everyone care about this so much?
Yeah.
Like, that's a question we're all asking.
But I don't want to dig too deep on this, but like Brock was like, I only read the headline, mate. He's like,
I
I
ain't
can't
paying
pay
for that shit.
Brock should pay for the New York Times. It's good. I pay $4.
Well, Andy said the article was shit and that he should fire his PR team.
I thought that was a major revelation. If for Andy to say, like, the PR team probably was so bummed out that night. Andy told Tom, fire your PR team.
I don't remember that piece. Do you?
Yeah, I read the whole thing.
Did you think it was good or bad?
It was affected when Bravo found out that he had compared himself to George Floyd, that they actively tried to hinder the access to him after. So it was kind of like that one statement ruined the piece.
They
because
couldn't
got
find
so
him
worried.
again.
Yeah, and so they lost all their access to him. But
it was like, Bravo representatives told me he was not available today.
Yeah, so they had to just see him in his confessionals. I mean, I don't really understand though. Like, even with the clickbait headline, like, what would you think he was saying? You know what I mean? Like, what is I don't know. I guess you either give him the benefit of the doubt and you say this is a dumb man who made a really dumb comparison, or you think he is pure evil. Right.
He was saying he was as much of a martyr as
George
Floyd.
He isn't intelligent enough to say something like that.
No. So, it was giving, like, his folly, it's almost like Arrested Development-esque or something. Like, it's just like such a disaster that it's pure comedy.
It is. Yeah, this had a lot of those moments for sure. So what was next? We got a little bit of Lala stuff. She's having a baby girl.
Non-water name,
which that's a big hint.
Yeah. She gets emotional talking about her custody, and then Lisa's like, why are you crying? Is it because you're pregnant? I was like, what the fuck? Can you chill?
You think Lisa was having a little bit of a rough time this reunion?
Yeah, I was like, everything she said was rude.
Yeah, I also can't help but notice that Lisa and Ariana seem to be almost full-blown enemies at this point.
Tit for tat. Did you notice? So, like, Lisa called them out about something about her taking too long, which I think it's bitchy, but she's allowed to do. I want to learn more. I want to know what she's talking about, because I'm like, yeah, why did it take a year? Like, I believe that there's more to it than just permits, the vague difficulties of permits. Like, their shit with Penny's a mess. Right. Like, that's a disaster. Yeah. And that's a situation of their own making.
Right. But why? Okay, so for me, I get the truth teller aspect. We like it. We like Lisa to call out from the restaurateur aspect. Mm-hmm. But to me, it was very easy not to say something like that, to still have the Lisa wit and not specifically call them out and throw Ariana under the bus by highlighting that it was because of Ariana being gone. It was like you're throwing shade at Ariana for no reason.
It was a pull, like a stretch. And she seems to be on Penny's side.
Of course, which I even understand that, but it seemed like you were actively trying to pull on the thread of the Katie Ariana stand-up.
Sure.
And you gave so much benefit of the doubt to like Tom Sandoval and Tom Schwartz, even though you give them shit, that I just think that
she was pretty mean to them at the time.
Right.
Quite honestly. If we rewatch, remember we were like, so she was like, your 2.5% each means fucking nothing to me. I'll delete your name from this deal in a second.
Yeah, that's true. So do you think that do you chalk it up to Lisa? It was just she's giving Lisa shade to everyone on the cast?
I mean, she's definitely she's easier on the guys for sure. But like, I remember when we were watching at the time, she was pretty savage about Tom and Schwartz and Sandy's.
I just felt like her picking apart like where Ariana stayed, like she wanted to know the details of that. And I felt like it was just to poke holes a little bit in Ariana's narrative overall.
Yeah.
And it even gets, I don't know, you could just tell that there's like a simmering feud here.
Sure.
And we don't, also when Lisa talks about Pump being a like a celebration in 10 years.
Can you believe that is this season, the Pump closing party?
No, that was like the 3rd or 4th episode. No, I can't
Feels
believe
like 500 years ago.
Yeah. But then when she goes 10 years is a celebration, Ariana goes, really?
Which I'm like, you fucking wish your sandwich shop will stay open for 10 years, bitch. I got pissed. I was like, that is crazy. Owning a business that stays afloat selling food and drink for 10 years is a big deal. I got pissed.
I agree. I'm not trying to be anti Lisa. All I want to highlight is that there's something wrong with Lisa and Ariana.
Something rotten.
There's something rotten in the Ariana and Lisa dynamic. I think it started when Ariana first started to call into question the Tom relationship and the Tom deal with Tom and Tom.
Oh yeah, she was like the only one that would stick up about that, which I will totally give her. When Tom gave shade about, Andy said to Schwartz, are you getting any schadenfreude or whatever about how hard it's been for them because you got so much shit about Schwartz and Sandy's? And Sandoval said, like, I think it's more that like you're like, now they understand. And Ariana goes, I always understood. I was very supportive of Schwartz and Sandy's, which she totally was.
Yes. Yeah. So I just think that an talked about thing here is that when did Lisa and Ariana start to hate each other? Because there's like almost like, I think this is a feud that we're seeing.
Yeah.
Like when you say,
I think that like there is just something, I think the internet just calls it jealousy, but I think it's something about the tipping of the scales of being out of control of the show, which is originally Lisa's full ownership. Then like Sheena's like, I've been on since fucking day one and I was like a close friend of this person and now I don't even have any like leeway to play with here. And then Lala, who just always thought she deserved to have, control, I guess. But like the people that are desperate to retain the marionette strings on the show are pissed that it just tilted completely in Ariana's favor. The person who maybe cares the least about the show.
That's exactly it. That's exactly what I was trying to say. I think that makes sense, and that ties like Lisa and Lala together in this way that they're trying to treat Ariana at this point.
Yeah, because it's like, I get that though. It's like if someone that but it's almost like the way of the universe. It's like the person that like cares the least is like favored.
Right. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. And then Tom Sandoval like is clinging to it for dear life.
Of course.
He's starting to flounder.
Yeah. When they're talking about Lala's custody and stuff, she reveals she's very close with Randall's ex-wife, which I'm like, that's interesting, but we'll never get to see it. And then Lisa brings up that when she married Ken, his son was 15, which I'm like, again, we need to revisit that dynamic.
Yeah. I want to know, yeah, I mean, I feel like I forget about Ken's son.
I know.
We talked about it on Patreon.
Yeah, like how old is he now? Like 50?
I think so.
And then Andy asked Lala if she's dating, and Lisa goes, she's pregnant, Andy. I'm like, what year is it? Like, what are you talking about? And he goes, I don't know.
Yeah, and Lala said that people are even more horny for her now than they ever were
Coming out of the woodwork.
because she can't get pregnant. They sense it.
That's what Lisa said.
She did?
She goes, yeah, she's like, people, like guys want me more than ever when I'm pregnant. And Lisa goes, because they know you can't get pregnant.
Yeah.
And she's like, get a hold of these titties while you can because they're amazing.
Yeah, did you like that part of what Lala was doing?
Eh.
Then we get, I think this was sweet. I think I have to say certified sweet moment. I like it. I don't know how people feel about Brock nowadays.
I know. No, this,
I know it's pretty dicey.
Everyone was on board
Yes.
on stage.
If I take my cues from the Vanderpump Rules cast for the most part, and Brock got a moment to talk about why he didn't visit his children in Australia or in New Zealand when he was in Australia. Andy says, why the hell didn't you do that? And he goes, my kids, it's up to them now if they want to see me. And unfortunately, they don't want to see their old papa.
Yeah. No, he confirmed. Andy was like, are you up to date on child support? And he was like,
Yeah.
I've been up to date for the past 2 reunions.
He said, never ask me that again in your life, Andy. And then he goes, so we're leaving it, up to when they want to see me. And then Sheena was like, there's nothing more you can do. Like, they obviously know more than us. So I kind of,
Right.
when everyone was starting to tear up, I was like, oh, like Ariana's tearing up.
Everyone was like about to like, not just like well up, but like sob.
Yeah.
Like everyone was like very touched.
And then they talk about, they just say, and Lala can't even, which great Lala moment. I love Lala like this.
Yeah.
Telling the truth. She's affected by it. She was like, you are such an amazing dad to Summer Moon. And it sounds like everyone has seen that. Even Katie.
Katie's, I was surprised. I was
too.
like, that's
Me
a
too.
wow.
That was a wow. Katie says as a tear is rolling down her eye as she hears Brock talk about, Summer Moon being a second chance and, what he wouldn't give to be with his, other kids, all that stuff. Katie goes, you made me want to eat my own words, And then she says, which I think is so true of Katie, and she's self-reflective. She says, I am an extremely harsh judge of character.
Yeah.
It's because I'm protecting myself. And I have to admit, you're an amazing father.
Yeah.
And Brock was like, I swear, I think that he will say good things about Katie for like 5 seasons. Like
Yeah.
that, I know was the grudge he was holding against Katie
Yeah.
for a long time. The fact that she gave him that, I feel like just like opened his Katie heart center for years.
That's going to do a lot for his goodwill on the internet because people ride for her.
Yeah.
And I think like I love that she said that because I was like, I think that's what irks me about her is that when she's being so harsh, I'm like, this is coming from a place of like defensiveness. So
Yeah.
I don't ride for that. Like, I don't think it's like that fun to watch someone be like, so enraged at people. That's obviously like something about what's going on with them. I'm like, that's not like that fun to watch to me.
So then yeah, I mean, but you have to give it to Katie. Like,
No, yeah.
She said, I mean, she rarely. Well, I'll say Katie is right a lot of the time. Like history has been kind to Katie in terms of her views. It has.
Yeah.
But the one time that she does regret her words, she gave it on the most public platform she ever could, right here.
Yeah. I know, because they rolled back the clip of her like
Yeah.
eviscerating him like a couple seasons
I'm
ago.
a harsh judge of character, just like Katie.
Yeah.
I get where it's
I
coming
mean, me
from.
too, but like I live a private citizen life.
I'm a private citizen, but I look at people and I think negatively of them first before
you can read them to filth.
I read them to filth in my mind before I know their true beautiful spirit.
Yeah. Sometimes you get surprised though, and it's nice.
I get surprised all the time. I'm overly negative.
And then Andy wraps up he makes everyone's like crying, and Andy says, I like thank you for your dedication to continuing wearing Speedos.
Yes.
Which was I think Andy was killing it on this.
He
was
did
informed. He wasn't afraid. He like had, it was well balanced.
Yeah.
He wasn't giving loyalty any which way.
Funny.
Yeah.
How does he do it?
He was shining.
But how does he do it? He does a talk show every night where he has to be 30 minutes of pure fun.
Serious radio
funny
in the morning.
Energy. I mean, we talk about this all the time, but like, how do you trust yourself that you're going to say something good and fun every single time you're on camera? We do it for 3 hours a week, and I want to die afterwards.
So tiring. He has like him and Ryan Seacrest and people, Gail King. They have unlimited battery for talking.
Wow, it's a sight to behold. Yeah, he did great.
This is where he brings it up to Ariana and lists all of her accomplishments.
Yep.
And he's like, Jesus, like I'm getting tired listing them all. And they talk about her lifestyle. She says that she would like to be bi-coastal. You know, she can't leave LA because of her deal with Katie, which again, I think that if they hadn't already been so far along in the planning stages, she would have said, fuck this sandwich shop, I'm moving to New York.
I think so too.
Yeah.
You said it. The sandwich shop is a anchor from an earlier time in Ariana's trajectory.
Because she didn't think that she was going to get to do the things she dreamed of doing.
Yep.
Which, again, I'm curious of, maybe she'll do, like, I could see her doing some maybe like off-Broadway, like one-woman show the way that like Sonia did. Yeah. Like something that is like, Diary of a Scorned Ex live-in partner, you know, like something kind of like silly and like she like wrote it herself or something.
You're gonna say Ariana's gonna do that?
I don't know if she's gonna keep getting Broadway roles outside of this like specialty area where they cast well-known people. Like this is that? Like, yeah, we'll write it.
Can we? What'd you call it? The Diary of a Scorned Woman? It's like, a one woman.
I'm just saying, like, she's gonna have to carve out if she wants to keep performing. I don't think she's just gonna be offered future Broadway musicals,
right?
Based off of talent alone,
right? So wait, what was up? Right? Okay. So wait, should she? Oh, so you're saying that
she should do something a little more about her personality. We know she loves doing comedy. So maybe something off Broadway. Something that like is a little less high stakes.
I would. That's a good question. What you just started to ponder. Ultimately, if Vanderpump Rules is not Ariana's dream, what is her dream?
Right. I mean, she said it was Broadway, and
she said it was her dream.
Yeah. I mean, I forget what podcast I listened to her on, but she like moved. She went to, I think was it Tisch? She like went to NYU. Whoa. She has a theater degree.
Okay.
She she didn't make it there, so she moved to LA.
Right.
She like kind of
gave
up.
The improv sketch comedy world.
Yeah, but I think that is what she always wanted to do, which now she's getting to do, but it's such a specific circumstance.
Okay. Hell Hath No Fury, starring Ariana Madix on Broadway.
Yeah.
Do you like that?
Let's start off Broadway.
Off Broadway first?
Yeah, and then we'll see. We'll prove it.
Is off Broadway how it works when we write this? Is it do you, once it starts filling up off Broadway, they go, hey, we need to get you in. That's when you get the
green light.
They say we need to get it in a bigger theater.
Yeah.
So most of the...
Like Hamilton started off Broadway.
It did?
Yeah.
So most of the stuff that Adam Driver was doing in Marriage Story, that was off Broadway, right?
Probably. I was going to say, because I think he himself as an actor can do Broadway.
He could?
Definitely.
Whoa. Okay. Well, if Ariana's ultimate goal is Broadway, we should talk about how we could write that show for her. Okay.
That's where the money's at.
Yeah. Okay. So what else did you think deserved discussion?
Okay.
Schwartz and Lala flirty energy, or did you like
that? Was so stupid.
I don't know. At one point I said I was.
They brought it up
them
on the reunion and the after show, and I was like, no one thought that was a thing.
But I did. I thought.
But they proposed that to you. I don't think you would have thought it anyways.
I don't know. I think that they could sort of they would be a good duality together.
She did say he's very handsome, and he said she was smoking hot.
Yeah. What is I have to ask you, what does breaking your dick off mean? I mean, I know what it means, like... Yeah. Like, is it just...
I think she's just saying she's too much for him.
Too much?
You can't handle all this.
So what does that really mean?
I mean, the thing is, I'm like, you say that, but he married Katie.
Right.
And she's like pretty intense. And he liked that.
And she never broke his dick off.
Well, they didn't have sex, as we recall.
So I guess I like, that's one of those phrases that people take for granted, you know, like I just accept what Lala was saying. We're all like, oh, I get what that means. But then when I'm thinking about it in this context, I'm like, what does it mean? Lala's too much for him.
Too fiery.
She's too fiery for him?
I guess.
Okay. Well, I'm going to stop shipping them because, you know, I don't think it would have been a great couple, but I do think that there was something there in the way that they were talking to each other. Yeah. I was like, I wouldn't not rule it out.
I think that like Schwartz is generally sweet and flirty automatically, and she was just being nice to him, and so
Yeah, okay. I never saw Schwartz as flirty, but I guess that's because he was in a relationship for as long as I ever saw him.
right. I was a little confused on the questions, the parsing of James talking about. The question was, Andy said, why do you think everyone was so accepting of Ariana dating Dan right away, but not as accepting of you dating
Allie.
Allie right away?
It was a stretch.
Because I was like, did anyone give a fuck about him dating Allie right away?
I mean,
maybe Rachel did.
Yeah, but it wasn't really. I think that Andy was just trying to.
But James had a lot to say about it.
He was so mad. He goes, "You all left me in the dust. You chose Rachel. I was left to fend for myself on an island."
That's like kind of interesting because I never thought of that before.
James,
do you think that's true, or do you think that was insecurity?
I think he was. If we go back to season 10 at the start, I think that Rachel was the one who got invited to every party because Sandoval and Ariana were championing her.
She went to Vegas.
Yeah, and James and Allie were left in the lurch for half the season. So
yeah.
He was obviously bitter about it, but then he said, I've grown past that. But also...
So that's also... Well, it's a different version of... I feel like that emotion is what is happening to everyone else now. Like he had to kind of suffer it last season of being like, I'm the one that brought Rachel to the show and then we broke up and then now she's the star of the show.
Yeah.
Everyone else is like, all of a sudden Ariana's the fucking star of the show? Like what the hell is going on?
I know, but why does that bother Lala and Sheena? I don't want to have Stan brain. I'm just like, with even Tom Sandoval, like he's the hero in LVP's mind or whatever, but like, was he bringing so much more than them this season? Like, are his scenes just inherently more entertaining than Ariana's? Like, I'm really calling into question that him going to the tattoo parlor and falling on his ass and the
I mean, like, we can't use this season as an example because it just like wasn't good.
But I feel like Sandoval worked his way up to being the main character when he might have been considered supporting, when really Jax and Stassi are like the stars.
Yeah,
they were the stars.
Yeah,
and then Sandoval kind of, no pun intended, wormed his way up to being the main character. Kind of fought in the trenches to become the number one guy after a really long time, and then he fell flat on his face. And I just don't understand what they think that the success of the show rides on Sandoval.
Right.
That's what Lala is kind of saying, right? And Lisa. But really, this is a ensemble cast. And it doesn't matter if Ariana's up for a couple seasons. You already lost Jax and Stassi. That's irredeemable.
Sure.
The show's quality dropped 4 points when Jax, Kristen, and Stassi and Brittany left the show.
Yeah.
So now you're kind of running on fumes.
The problem is that the ensemble is broken, period.
Yeah, so it's really not, that's what we already talked about. It's really not an Ariana problem. It's all you scrambling to make a show sustain itself that really can't sustain itself for much longer because it was fundamentally broken when Jax, Brittany, Kristen, and Stassi left.
Right, the real fire.
Yep.
So Andy asked Sandoval about his new girlfriend, who he says is a successful model. Andy goes, she used to date Leonardo DiCaprio, right? And Lisa was like, damn, you're up on your facts.
Yeah, that was cool. That was nice.
James is like, no, it's crazy because in the bathroom, they have this wallpaper that's like, has like different parts of Hollywood on it. And there's Leonardo DiCaprio leaving the chateau with a girl, and like, Sandoval was quite entertained by that. He was like, yeah, that's crazy. And by the way, I looked it up. I Googled. I was like, I assume it's a toile print, like, those, like, it's like the Tony Soprano like shirt that has the different scenes.
Of
like
course I know
normally
that.
Like a toile would be like, it would be like a little French boy and like a dog, or like it would be like country scenes. And in recent years, there have been like ironic toiles that are kind of like trendy. So I was like, I bet that's what it is because there's like all these different scenes or whatever.
So you thought it was a toile of a bunch of Hollywood moments.
Yeah. So I looked up Los Angeles toile or Hollywood toile, and I found it.
No way. Can I? Wow, you did the work here.
And the Leo's on the bottom left.
So
there.
this is what was in their mudroom.
And it couldn't be more vague of a human. There's no way to confirm or deny who that woman is.
So I can't see that, and it'll take me too long to... Yeah, if this is it, what the hell is James talking about? I kind of felt like that was kind of like, it was like James like fanning out a little bit.
Yeah.
And then Ariana was like, I picked that wallpaper out. Give Sandoval no credit for that.
I know. She's like, that's fucking mine. Hold on. Here's the zoom in.
Oh, but he said she had brown hair. But this has to be what he's talking about, right? He's leaving
Unless
the
there's
chateau.
another wallpaper with Leo leaving the chateau on it.
And she's covering her face. How many people has Leonardo DiCaprio dated, do you
That's the
think?
thing. Hundreds.
Hundreds of people? Wow.
But yeah, so that was funny. And yeah, he called their wallpaper legendary.
Yeah, he really liked that wallpaper.
And Lisa was like, why are you in their powder room?
Yeah. They talk about pump closing. We already talked about that. We really gave I think that Ariana's really, that when she says really, that's a success story, it just shows me that things are not good with Lisa. And she considers Lisa to be a hater. Yeah.
Some of them make fun of the Tom Tom brand briefly, which fair enough. I don't really know what that restaurant stands for. And the boys say that Schwartz and Sandy's is doing better than ever. They're on the same page with Greg, who didn't want them to film this year, which is kind of crazy.
Did they say that Greg? I think they said a different investor. Maybe not Greg was the one.
I assumed it was Greg.
Oh, okay, because they said someone was already
I feel like they didn't
skeptical.
want to name him.
Okay, they didn't want. Oh, okay, all right, maybe it was Greg.
Because they said that they're finally on the same page with him, and that they have new food coming, new sound system. They said that there was going to be an after party after the reunion, which they said was on St. Patty's.
Yes. I remember, we didn't go to that. I remember, though, when it was happening.
Right. And then Andy asked Tom if he had paid his mom back yet, to which he said no. But Schwartz said they're in the black. Which is kind of almost hard to believe.
At what point did he start the accounting? Because wasn't there, like, years of investing money into this? I mean, right. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Do you trust Schwartz in that one? I just, like... I don't pray for Schwartz and Sandy's downfall at all, but the times that you and I have been there, I mean, it's like there's like frogs croaking and crickets chirping and like the water sewage is back. No offense.
Did you see the video of Tom playing Happy Birthday on the trumpet this week?
I'm like, I do not hope for its downfall, but I just have not seen, I mean, maybe in the videos, I haven't seen the like fanfare that they're saying it has.
Right.
You know what I mean? If I'm just being like realistic.
Yeah. Their drinks are so expensive though that maybe even if they have half as many people there as we think, it adds up to a full bar because every drink is like $20.
It's possible. And then this is when they get into now something about her, right?
Yeah.
So this is when Lisa does not believe the story of the West Hollywood permits, the disagreements, the drain. She says that stuff could have been taken care of, which I believe Lisa. You're right. I believe
if she was at the helm, that shit would have been open a year ago.
She would have been with the plunger, getting the sewage water out of it. Like it would have been done.
Yeah.
Because you said it last week. Wolf by Vanderpump. It took less time overall,
and they literally had to like construct it from scratch.
Yeah. So and even me, like, not to make this about me, but I also like would not be the person that would let a year go by if like a permit issue. You just go to the office, you say, what do we need? Like things don't have to take that long if you're proactive. So
there is more to the story there. I assume that like they were distracted.
Well, the Chef Penny stuff, the trademark. Yeah. It sounds like there's a lawsuit.
Right.
Lisa alluded to a lawsuit with Chef Penny.
Right. And then Katie tries to totally shove the Penny stuff under the rug and goes like, that's irrelevant. We only worked with her for 2 months, which is where Lala poking holes sometimes is convenient because she goes, no, she made sandwiches for us 2 years in a row. And they showed the clip 2022 and 2023, her making sandwiches. So I'm like, you've been in cahoots with her for a really long time. It wasn't like, oh shit, actually we have a difference of opinion. Let's part ways. It was a really long running thing.
Yes. She did 2 different tastings and was part of the hiring. Like she was a part of it. You can't try to brush over that Chef Penny was part of it. And then they showed that clip that I always say was the first sign that Chef Penny would not be good to work with when she goes, you better name one of those sandwiches after me. I was like, damn, that was probably when things started to go bad.
Right. And then, we kind of covered a lot of this out of order. Yeah. Like we already covered the, Ariana said she didn't watch this season. The Katie versus Lala we kind of already covered.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am curious. I totally get that Katie is saying, you know, you're allowed to vent without it being an arc.
Yeah.
Like, we all say shit about people, and it doesn't have to mean they're your enemy or that you want to take them down. You can be like, like now all of a sudden she's like going to fucking Broadway. But I do agree that I wish that there was a little bit of like, well, I wish you told me you were going to fucking Broadway. Like, it doesn't have to be a whole plot line, but like, yeah, like you said, like one conversation wouldn't tank their relationship, especially because Ariana's quite generally willing to hear people out. Like, she never gets pissed.
That's why I thought if Katie had wanted to say it, she would have.
Right.
I really don't think I don't think of Katie as couching her opinion to placate someone. Like, all of her history has been the exact opposite of that.
When you watch the after show, you can tell she's like biting her tongue when she sits next to Ariana. She doesn't say shit.
Yeah, I think Lala just made too much of it. I think Lala, like I said, wanted to really try to poke holes in the...
I think that that's what caused like the power dynamic flop, was that like you either said nothing or you're Lala trying to be like, will anyone listen to me? And I'm like, if there was a little bit in between of people just being like, can we talk about what the fuck is going on? This is crazy. Like, in a loving manner. Yeah. I think maybe the boat wouldn't be so tipped, you know?
Yeah, I think so too. I think you're right. And people should feel safe that they can voice, antagonistic feelings towards Ariana if they want to. And I think Ariana would be receptive, and they don't need to toe the line based off the fandom, because we will accept them. You know, we can allow for nuance. That's what this whole show is built on.
Sure. But I do think that's an interesting, maybe something that's never been uttered before, is cast members playing to the crowd.
Yeah. So that's
like, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah. The living in the comments thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about that. So Lala, at the end, when Katie does not go with what she's saying, her interpretation of that she secretly was holding a grudge against Ariana and wouldn't let it out during the season, Lala says, I think a lot of you live in the comments. And then she said, I think Katie lives in the comments. I think Sheena lives in the comments. And then they pan to Sheena, and Sheena just gives this slow, solemn nod, like, yeah, I live in the comments. And then she said, I think James lives in the comments.
He goes, what?
And I was like, I don't think James lives in the comments. He's like,
now why I'm in it.
Yeah, and I took living in the comments to mean, and you correct me if you thought it was different, but I thought it meant when you're actively participating in the season and stories come out and you see the fan reaction and adjust your behavior while an active season is going on.
Conflict of interest.
Right. But then the other living in the comments would be that you are always catering to the comments, and you would do, like, after a season is already over, you adjust yourself based off what everyone said about you. But I thought Lala's was more active, like judging the temperament or testing the waters during an active season. But then if Sheena was living in the comments, I don't think that she would have ever been her arc towards Sandoval. She would have, if she was living in the comments actively, she would have known that no, the audience is not turning towards Sandoval. I had that one photo of me with my hand on him, and people were absolutely outraged.
True.
So, do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so are you actively living in the comments and shaping your current arc, or next season do you adjust all your behavior to what the main, cast reaction was to you overall?
Right.
What did you get the sense that it was?
Right. Yeah, I didn't think about
It's just a new thing to think about, which I kind of like.
Yeah, because Sheena had said she was living in the comments in a different way at the beginning of the show about how she was worrying about Brock and Lala because people were saying that, which right now on Summer House, the comments are obsessed with Amanda and Jesse, and she just did a reaction video saying it's not going to happen, but she kind of said it in like a cheeky way. Because
Jesse Solomon, you have to say, is, I think, sexually attracted to Amanda.
Yeah, he said it.
He did?
Yeah, he said it on Watch What Happens.
He said that would be, if everyone was single, that's who he would go
Yeah, he said Amanda's amazing.
Wow, that's pretty, wow.
And then there was a TikTok, I think he posted, either he posted or she posted, of them like essentially snuggling at that tarot dinner.
Oh, I didn't see
or
that.
tarot thing.
Do people, I mean, so I want to live in the comments for a second. Do people like that?
What do you mean?
Do people like that Jesse is like, Amanda, you look so good. I wish you didn't have a husband because I would marry you right now. Do people like that?
I think people are turning on Kyle right now. So they're like, yeah, Amanda should be celebrated by this fun, hunky guy.
Yeah. I'm trying to think like really my real time reaction to that because I didn't think about it. But like, I guess I don't really care unless I was Kyle.
Yeah. And I don't think Kyle cares.
I don't think Kyle cares.
He might not care about his marriage at all.
Yeah, he might not. And I do think it's kind of fun. It's kind of how like West was with Sierra when Sierra kissed Jesse on the lips. He's just like, I'm comfortable. You can kiss on the lips. Like it's
or
not
also when he was like hitting on Paige nonstop and Craig was like, yeah, my girlfriend's hot. You should hit on her.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not as offended by that kind of stuff.
No, it's fun. And it's fun fodder. But
Good.
But yeah, the comments create storylines, you know?
Yeah, I think they do, and I think that we should all know that if a Bravo celebrity is living in the comments, that you can shape someone's full arc if you wanted to, if you just say it enough. That's why I actually think my advice would be to all Bravo celebrities is don't live in the comments.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of hubris and a lot of second season flops comes from people reacting too strongly to maybe possibly very stupid advice from fans.
Yeah.
I feel like that happened to Aviva on Roni, her second season. I think that she like played up all of the things that she thought that the fans loved about her disgusting dad.
Yeah.
May he I'm sure he's doing good, but her disgusting, filthy, absolute awful dad. Like she was just playing to her fan base, and it ruined her. It
ruined her, but it was fun to watch because it was so transparent.
Yeah, but it
didn't work out for her, but it worked out for me.
It worked out for us for the legacy of watching Aviva, but it was not good. It was not a good strategy for her.
I mean, I'm on the opposite end as a viewer. I mean, now I have a podcast, so it's a little bit different. But historically, and even still, I don't follow almost anyone because I mean, now it's unavoidable with the news and the podcasts and Instagram posts get written about on news. So it's like you can't avoid it. But historically, I want to watch what is shown. I don't want it to be spoiled. I don't want to like hypothesize. I just want to watch it. And that's just different now. Like we all have a million opinions. Like everyone's on Reddit, everyone's on Twitter, everyone's on podcasts, everyone's on whatever. So it's like everyone has already completely picked apart every single thing that's ever happened before the season's even ready, which like in a way kind of sucks. Like it's kind of fun because it's interactive and obviously are attempting to make a livelihood off of it. But I kind of miss the days of like, I was talking to someone who has just started watching Vanderpump currently, like they just caught up for the new season or whatever. And they were like, it's fun because when I watch it, I immediately get all of this stuff that I can listen to or like parse it apart and have this whole, dialogue or whatever. And I was like, I kind of miss when I was just like watching this shit in like 2008.
Yeah.
And I was just like by myself in my bedroom being like, that was wild.
I think you're right. I mean, we're all tuned in a little hard, I'd say.
We had to go to bravotv.com for more information before.
Yeah, right.
You'd be like, was there a blog?
Yeah. Did you read those blogs? Were you
Not really.
Yeah. That like is a...
Sometimes if they would come up at the reunion and they sounded like crazy, I would probably go
like
find
Carol
them.
And the ones that Carol and Bethany were talking about.
She was like, I just watched that clip where she's like, you were ripping me to shreds in your blog. And then that's when Andy goes, she's like, well, Andy's like, you both tore each other up this season. And what does Carol say? She's like, shut up, Andy. You're full of shit.
What does she? Doesn't he say, "You're in the tank for her too," or something like that?
Oh yeah, she goes, "You're afraid of her too," about Bethany. He goes, "Oh yeah, I'm afraid of her," and I was like, "Oh shit, bitch, you're fired."
It got so bad. Andy Cohen talked about her in that book, Not All Diamonds and Rosé.
Yeah,
I think I've told you, but he said the Carol that I knew before Roni was absolutely nothing like the Carol that ended on Roni.
It's wild.
But I would say that I think. I would say that the fans can possibly lead you astray. So I think if you're catering to them, you could possibly ruin your career on Bravo. Whereas some people that are just authentic to themselves throughout the entire process, you can tell when somebody's being authentic. And we like people who like make their own decisions and chart their own path through the Bravo
Yeah.
universe.
Yeah. Did you think that Lala calling something about her nothing about her was a slay?
You know what? I didn't. I thought
She said it on the after show as well, so she had already said it, I think.
She had said it twice. It wasn't. Yeah, I don't.
It was
think,
giving Neverland, trying to do the Nini Chateau Cherie Neverland.
Yeah, I don't know why it doesn't hit hard, but it just didn't. Hit me that hard. I didn't think it was very good, especially something to say twice, because that means she
So
really
nice she said it twice.
right. So that means she really liked it.
Yeah.
And and that was about how Katie threatened to give them Lala to the ground.
I
if
need
she
more information. Katie said, I guess the gist of it was like, I'm not going to talk shit about Ariana because we're in business together. If you're going to fuck with my business, I'll fuck with yours.
Yeah. And she says, you don't have a business to fuck with. I have an empire, like Sheena said. But
Instead of Boardwalk Empire, it's Lala Empire.
Yeah, exactly. Lala Empire. But I don't like, I have a hard time when someone says, you're taking food out of my baby's mouth. Like when you get to that, is there anything that anyone can ever say about you for the rest of time?
It's annoying.
Like I can't, I almost feel like, if we say one thing bad about Lala, could she say that you and I are stealing food out of Ocean's mouth?
She's fine. She just bought like a 2-point-something million house in Sherman Oaks.
I know, but I really do think that for Lala is the end all be all. It's like
Sure.
if you
can play that. I don't need to believe that that's true.
Right.
Like she said that, didn't she say that about Schwartz in their beach fight, which was so dumb?
Yeah. No matter what, your life decisions could potentially affect feeding.
Okay, well, like you made that choice to be in charge of a little person. That's your problem, not mine.
Was that it, or do you want to talk about the after show?
Yeah, I'm just scrolling through if there's anything else major. Katie, like, I think because she was sitting next to Ariana, really was acting like she didn't remember their conversation or exactly what was said. And I was like, I want to know.
I know. I did want to know the full, like, I would have liked to know the full arc of what happened there. It sounds like right before filming, there was a call to, like, get on the same page about something with Jeremiah.
A 3-way call.
And then, like, Katie hates Sheena, so she was not going to be good with Sheena, so that affected her relationship with Lala. Then there was the clown DM.
Right.
So there was a lot of feuding before the season started, but then I guess they decided to bury the hatchet, but then let the lingering flare-ups
It sounded
happen.
like Ariana was like, kind of like, I'm cool with this being over. I'm going to let you slide on what it sounds like you were talking shit. And Katie's trying to say, because what she said on the reunion was like, that she's allowed to express these concerns. And that's when Lala was like, I don't like what you're doing right now. You're trying to like differentiate between whatever. But I'm like, the thing is, even though I think Lala is like bringing up shit, perhaps unnecessarily or trying so hard to like make a storyline work or whatever, when she says something was said, I believe her because she says exactly what it was. It's like we just watched her say on season 4 that Jax was like, don't worry, I'm going to fuck you tonight. And it's like, I'm like, why would Brittany believe Jax over her when she's saying like a transcript? Like she always like she remembers it, whereas like Katie's kind of like, I don't know, it was kind of like whatever. And then like Lala's like, you DM me X, Y, and Z. You told me she was late on paying her rent, and that you were like bitter that she didn't tell you about Broadway. Like it's so specific that I'm like, I mean, I believe you. Like you're weaponizing it, but like I think that it was said.
But why did then? Okay, well, this is like counter to that, but like, why didn't Lala make this a part of her storyline? If Katie texted a clown face emoji to her,
why didn't they have screenshots? Also, I was waiting for them to pull them up on screen.
Yeah, but I mean, because Jeremiah is involved, so maybe you don't want to like talk about that conversation. But Lala could have made, if Lala wanted to do more this season, instead of just hope that Ariana will save the show for her, whatever the fuck she expected from Ariana. Why not say, I hate Katie right now. She said a really offensive thing to me about my custody battle. She called me a clown. Why would I pretend to be friends with Katie?
Right.
If it started off so bad, that's a very fruitful conversation you can start to have on camera.
Especially because it was kind of confusing why they were feuding.
Yeah.
Because it felt kind of like, what are you guys mad at each other about?
Or why didn't she say, why didn't you say in a scene, Katie, right before the season started, in the non-fourth wall breaking way, you told me that she didn't pay rent. Why didn't she throw Katie under the bus like she wanted to if she's going to just use it against her at the reunion? Like she could, Lala had anything she wanted to create this storyline.
Do you think she originally was trying to be like, the girls are all together?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. It's hard to imagine what Lala thinks she's doing for me.
I know. Well, we'll see if she ends up on the Valley.
Right. I mean, that could really be it. And I think that's what Jax is trying to warn against. He doesn't want people to just flop on Vanderpump Rules and think they have the safe haven of the Valley.
Right.
Okay.
All right. Well, we'll talk about the Valley, but we should pee first.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's take a certified turtle piss break, and then we'll come right back.
Sounds good.
We're back.
Hey.
Did you do a certified turtle piss?
I did pee.
Me
and
too.
then I opened I don't even know why I opened it. I opened Facebook on my phone, and it reminded me that I went to an Andy Cohen book event 12 years ago today.
That's so cool. And you said that they ran out of books, right?
Yeah, I'll never forget it because I went to the Grove and I attempted to go to an Andy Cohen book signing and they ran out of books. So it was an immediate fail. Then I lost my parking ticket and had to pay the maximum and I cried.
I'm so sorry about that. That is such a sad memory. But you got to see Andy Cohen, right?
Yeah, I think I remember him saying stuff. It's confusing because I've been to more than one since.
I went to one of those. I saw the RZA.
Oh wow.
He had a book called The Tao of Wu.
I remember that.
And I was early, like this was like 1 year into LA or maybe 6 months, and I went to the Grove. I went to Barnes and Noble, and I knew that RZA was going to be there. And then when I walked into Barnes and Noble, I was like, "Holy shit!" He was sitting at the table, right? It's like
it's
could not.
pretty petite in there.
Yeah, I was just like, it's one of those things where it's like now I'm desensitized to it, but when you can see an actual like celebrity firsthand like that, it's kind of shocking.
Yeah,
you probably saw that all the time, but for me,
yeah.
seeing RZA, it was good.
I remember one time in like high school, I went to my local Borders. I think it was Borders, yeah, and Macaulay Culkin was doing a book signing there, and it was while he was dating Mila Kunis, so she was there too.
He wrote a book?
Yeah.
What was it called?
The Art of Being Macaulay.
I can't even believe that. I didn't know Macaulay Culkin wrote a book. Was it a memoir?
It must have been. I don't even remember. I think I didn't like go out of my way to go to it. I think I was like literally at Borders, and I was like, holy shit.
And he was dating Mila, you said at the time?
Yeah. What year was it? What does it say?
I'm looking at what book
it must
he wrote,
have been like 2005 or something.
But book movie auto-completed, and it did the Page Master, that book movie that he was in. Oh, it's called Junior?
Oh.
Part memoir, part rant, part comedic tour de force.
Oh, wow. What year was that?
He didn't go full memoir. He had to obfuscate it in a bunch of bullshit so that it wasn't just a full memoir, it seems like. Damn, that's too bad. All right. Well, okay. So
Okay, wait. So, the Valley, the Big Bear bombshell.
Yes.
It opens up the same as last week, and it's Zach crying.
Yeah.
And this is where he says he's the first one to open the floodgates and really make you consider. He goes, Janet's not low key a mean girl; she's high key a mean girl.
Can I say that in reality, while I was watching this, I was like, this endeared me to Zach.
Yeah.
It's very vulnerable and very, for me personally, gets my sympathy, and to see someone cry about not being invited to something. And it really kind of makes what Janet did abhorrent. Mm-hmm. And
I mean, it is quite diabolical to like, I mean, I guess you can do whatever you want. It's your pregnancy, it's your party, whatever, or like your weekend or whatever.
Though, but she can say it is, but not really.
But yeah, to like use the language of being like the undertone is what we already said, where he's like, it's a cast trip and I'm not invited. And she goes, it's not a group trip. It's my baby moon.
It's a baby moon with 95% of the cast of this new show we're filming, and you're not invited to it.
And she also compared it. She was like, how the fuck would Kristen be mad when she didn't invite me to something she had a flyer for, but I didn't invite her to an intimate weekend. I was like, because no one cares if they're not invited to a thing that's like a promotional event.
But also true to that, but also Janet didn't invite her to the other dinner. This was now you're getting like this is for
tit
that
for
and
tat.
that's tit for that. No, yeah, Janet didn't invite her to the hibachi thing. It's like I don't want to like belabor how many times I've said this, but what the hell did Kristen do to Janet to where she's doing this? Because Kristen said what Janet said about Michelle, that because she's conservative, she's a racist, which I know she said that.
Yeah.
She is so mortified that got onto this season that she's going to try to ice Kristen off this show.
Right.
That's pretty wild.
Right.
How does Janet have that power? Why are Jax and Brittany allowing this to happen? Why are Jesse and Michelle getting their way? We talked about this last week. Jesse went through the hallway like rampaging, beating people up to try to get to Luke, and he's still like invited to a Big Bear trip. Like I just don't understand.
I know.
I don't understand how it's gotten this far.
I know. I keep waiting for Jax. I don't know if I'm getting confused because we're also watching season 4 of Vanderpump at the same time, where Jax is writing for Kristen the whole trip saying she should have been invited. And I keep waiting for Jax to defend Kristen. And I'm like, wait, no, he at the, not to get ahead, but he tells Michelle at the end of this episode that Kristen will do, when she's at the bottom of the barrel, she'll do anything to ruin lives.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
He's saying that she has like wounded animal syndrome or whatever, what they accuse him of. Jax is using, this is horrible, Jax is using Kristen's misery as a storyline. Yeah. And he's using his relationship with Kristen. I think we talked about this in the first couple episodes because this is what was happening. He's using his very strong relationship with Kristen and knowing that they're going to bounce back no matter what to paint her as the villain to make this an engaging show that he's trying out.
He
for
keeps
the first
like
time.
doing these like hear ye's where he's like, gather around children, I have an announcement to make.
Yeah. No, and I like that kind of stuff. Like I like what Jax is doing, and I don't mind Jax and Kristen. Like they're tried and true legendary cast members.
Yeah.
I do not mind them playing off each other. And I don't mind. It's funny that Jax is saying that Kristen told him when he told Kristen this rumor. Like I don't mind all that because that's like classic Vanderpump Rules. What I mind is the new cast members trying to stake a claim.
It's not their place.
It's not their place at all.
I saw a fan cam. Did I send it to you?
Of Janet?
It was Jax and Kristen.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the song was. I want to say it was like, in another life I would be your girl. Like it was like playing clips of them together as if they were like the ones that got away.
They are like, I never want them to ever, they've already consummated their relationship.
Sure.
I don't want them to do it. I just think that they are twin
flames.
They are two souls or one soul and two bodies. And I love them. And
the folie à deux.
Totally. They could totally be the subject of that. But so I don't mind all that. I just think that like I said, like it's just, I don't understand how we got to this place where it's like this game of telephone.
Yeah.
The viewers have lost even what
Kristen's being gaslit.
Yeah. It's gaslighting. It truly is gaslighting. And that's an overused term.
Yeah.
But it's like, they're like Kristen is the ultimate villain here. Can you believe how she's trying to wreck all of our relationships? And I swear Kristen said like one thing at the start of the episode.
Yeah.
They're letting this game of telephone, this gaslighting game of telephone, dictate the entire season arc.
Right.
And Janet is getting away with murder.
Yeah. So to speak. I will say also that this is the first episode that I've actually feel like Jasmine has gotten time to shine, and I'm like, I'm down.
Oh, Jasmine killed it. This was for me. I was like, okay, these people who I thought maybe some of them are flops. I was like, wait, Danny's kind of bringing it. Jasmine's bringing it. Zach,
Jasmine's a good voice of reason.
Jasmine, so we'll get into this part here when they're all crying, they're upset. Kristen and Zach are crying, and it's so horrible. The thing that Janet just wrought upon this cast is very sad, and it like puts everything into perspective. And then while Zach is crying and Kristen is crying and everyone's crying, Brittany is talking to Jasmine and Zach about this, and there's this guy Simon who is at the the hibachi party. And I was like, I recognize that guy. I was like, okay, he hasn't really been on the season yet, but I know him. He was in a previous scene. He's sitting there standing.
It was
behind
like cartoonish.
Zach, and you could. The fact that they thought that he was recording them, that's fully fine. It looked like he was. He was just texting everything they were saying to Janet.
A live transcript.
Like Janet has a network of spies on the Valley that are just reporting all of the deeds of the whole cast to her.
Jasmine called him Harriet the Spy.
Yeah, and I thought that was great too. And I love that Jasmine called. It was almost fourth wall breaking.
Yeah.
It was like, what the hell are you doing? Do you want to be in this conversation? And he goes, oh, sorry, no. I'm just telling Janet exactly what's happening here, that people are crying. And she goes, well, okay, can you get out of here then?
And he runs away in his little pink boots.
Yeah, he ran. And I was like, whoa, this kind
He
of
was a
stuff,
henchman.
it was giving henchman for sure. I was very, I mean, that kind of stuff though, it's like, it's not, I'm mad at Janet, and I'm mad that she has a network of spies, but it's good. It's good. And once they learn that Janet is the villain, it'll be even better.
Yeah.
But I don't want, so actually, like, I guess I'm touting Janet.
Right.
I mean, she's doing some work here.
Right.
She has a network of spies that report to her everything that's going on in the Valley universe.
It felt like on that scene on the phone, she was pitting the gays against each other.
She was.
Like they were like watching her on the phone call, like doing like sign language to be like, hang up. Like they were basically being like, doing like the gag motion, like,
and
like,
her like service to them was so much more overblown than what she was saying to Zach.
Yeah,
like she was being like fine to Zach or whatever. So I thought that was, so this is all like, this is good. Like it's good that we're talking about the Valley like this.
Yeah,
like Jasmine is showcasing herself. Those were some great moments. Zach, I'm more endeared to him. Jesse, I mean, Jesse is like, holy shit,
he's unraveling.
Like we have like I think we already said it, but like this is like chaotic evil.
Yeah,
we're like
they gave us like 5 minutes of him being like, I'm a new man.
Yeah,
and they like showed him recounting his ayahuasca trip, and he's like, I saw a demon.
He goes, yeah, it was, I love that they gave him the long talk edit, but they gave him the long talk / I just had a trip. So they did all the pixelation stuff. I really like that. But yeah, Michelle says it lasted, like they got in a fight like that day or the day after. And then I would say by the Big Bear trip, he's the worst he's ever been.
He's drunk as hell. He drank like a full bottle of tequila.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to highlight any scenes. You want to just go like through it. Yeah. So by the time we see Jesse again, after he had this like, my ego died, he goes, I was able to lift the burning head crown off my head, and I was able to get the flames off. Everyone, once I had apple juice, I was fully back to being normal. And then we see him at the beach, and the minute that Danny comes up to him after like he rescues people from the pontoon boat, he gets Danny in this like strangulation move with the towel. Did you see that part?
Yeah, he like tried to choke him out.
And he won't let Danny go. He's trying to punch him and fight him. He's kicking him. He's going nuts on him. And then, I mean, it was just like, I think that his true spirit was coming out there. Like, he was like, I was just like, I've never seen someone this, unhinged in a while.
I know. Then like Jax and Brittany are fighting each other playfully, and he like comes up behind Brittany and like pretends to like strangle her or something, and then he fights his wife and accidentally like knocks her nose.
Yeah, and they're like, we're not prepared for this. We're not prepared when someone else in a self-defense class like comes and does a chokehold on someone else. Yeah, so I just thought that whole stuff. I was just like, and then
he also, when they first checked into the Airbnb, he was like, this is our sex trip. We're going to fuck nonstop. And you can tell she's like, no.
Yeah. She's like, no, I don't want to do that. And then even when Danny, which I thought this was a good moment of Danny when they're after their, drunken chaos at the beach, he goes, Jesse, I have to say something. When you want to fight me that bad, kicking me, strangling me with a towel, punching me, does it mean anything?
Yeah, he's like, I just want to make sure there's no beef between us because it was kind of crazy.
And Jesse goes, I apologize to you if that hurt your feelings. But he's being a full-blown dickhead still. And Danny goes, you apologize if it hurt my feelings? That's not an apology. And he goes, I already apologized. Shut the fuck up. I was like, oh my
Yeah.
God.
And then he like runs away and tucks himself in bed.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, that's like when you're like really fucked up is when you're like crawl into
have
bed,
to go to
like
bed.
during the daytime.
Yeah. There was so that was sort of the Jesse trajectory. I was like, did the ayahuasca trip make him worse?
Right.
You know, I mean, it's like
He tried to cheers to fuck Kristen, basically.
Wow.
He was like, here's to no drama because Kristen's not here.
he's probably so delighted that he won out versus Kristen after what he's done already.
Yeah. So yeah, then we immediately, the depressing thing on the other side, like, cause it's like boy car, girl car. Brittany is car sick. She's like, you know, on the way home, she's like, don't tell Jax that I got sick.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Which I'm like, we do need to like, what is going on with you? I mean, she does reveal that she doesn't have a gallbladder.
I know.
You know, that doesn't help.
Yeah. Here's what I'll say. Brittany gets sick, which, you know, she gets sick a lot.
She did do a shot.
She did. And Jax thinks instantly if Brittany's sick that she was drinking.
Right.
And I think, unfortunately for Brittany, a lot of the time she does get sick from drinking, but it's on Jax to still be sympathetic to her when maybe it's not caused by drinking.
Right.
So Janet says something where she's like, the first person I would want to tell if I'm sick would be my husband. So that's the mark of a bad relationship.
Yeah.
But a little bit of this is that I think Brittany does have some undiagnosed thing with her stomach when she drinks tequila where
Right.
it makes her sick all the time.
Right.
So I think that he's used to dealing with this a little more, but he needs to have, the worst thing Jax does is that he turns that anger, rage, talking to Brittany where he treats her like shit and talks to her like that in front of people. Like no matter what she did, that's something that he needs to work on, you know?
Sure.
You
Yeah,
know what
no,
I mean?
I feel bad for her, but I'm also like, let's get a diagnosis, honey.
And see what's going on.
Like this keeps happening.
Yeah. I also, I didn't like saying I liked this moment is not accurate, but thinking that is interesting was when at the beach really quick, when like Brittany is listening to that, like,
Why did the nanny send that?
I know the nanny
She took
sent,
footage of Cruz like bawling.
like I'm just like, I am so triggered by exactly what Jax's reaction to that. I know I would have been like that, not as mean as
Yeah.
him, but like I cannot hear like
yeah,
like a
it's like
my
if someone,
dog
yeah,
in
like
pain.
I was gonna say, if my like pet sitter
Was-
sent a video of my cat like screaming or like barfing, I'd be like, unless you
No.
need my immediate attention, please don't tell me that when I'm away.
That's how I felt. And then I understood when Brittany is turning the volume up and playing it over and over again while Jax is taking a shot of tequila on the beach that you don't want to hear your screaming child
and Brittany's
crying.
Brittany's crying.
And then Jax
she
gets-
got herself upset.
And then he gets aggravated. He goes, "I don't want to hear my child crying." And then that's where he loses.
He took it too far.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you can kind of see their pattern, or what's that called when
Yeah.
a couple
Dynamic.
you can see their dynamic. Brittany does something that annoys Jax.
Yeah.
It annoys, and maybe there is reason why if Brittany does the same thing over and over again, why Jax gets annoyed. But he needs to temper that reaction to where he never speaks to Brittany like that ever in public, because anyone hearing that, you think Jax is the worst person in the world. And it's true.
Right.
Like he should never talk to her like that.
Right.
And she says he talks to her like that in front of Mama,
Yeah.
in front of her dad.
I know, which is again why I need to watch Jax and Brittany take Kentucky.
Oh, he comes off horrible. in that.
Also, what did you think about that they wouldn't let it go unacknowledged, the Jax Big Bear connection that Janet made him the t-shirt? I was a little bit like, because I was already annoyed with her, I was like, you're a fangirl.
Yeah, no, I thought the same thing.
It was giving Kelly Ben Simone and what's her name on the girls trip.
Krista Takeman.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
like, you're giving fangirl. You've been watching all along.
I was happy. I thought the same. That was my immediate reaction. But then I was happy that it was like acknowledged. It
Yeah.
seems like she cared about that moment even more than Jax. He like barely even like thought about it.
Yeah. He was like, where did you even get this photo? And then on the, we've kind of gone past it, but when the girls were on the boat, Janet brings up Simon or whatever, and Jasmine goes, "Oh, you're a little spy?"
Yeah. Yeah. And then she said the way he was acting, it was giving creep.
Yeah.
I thought that was wild.
Yeah. I love that. It also seems like I don't remember his name, but the other guy that was, again, they were helping her
Jared
pack
Lips.
for some reason.
It didn't make any sense to me.
But everyone, especially Ariana, it seems like a a lot of them are very close with Mr. Jared.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I think he's on the good. I think he's on the good side of the Vanderpump Rules cast, unless there's something I don't know. But then Simon, it seemed like no one really knows Simon. And Zach goes, when they have that conversation with Janet, Zach is like, I was upset that you didn't invite me, but I had even more of a problem of your pink-booted friend recording us talking.
Yeah.
I was like, damn.
There were some funny callbacks, and then when they played the footage of him like lurking, it was very funny.
Yeah, that was great.
We also, I don't think we talked about it on the Vanderpump. I don't think I mentioned it, but when Andy asks Schwartz if he felt Schadenfreude about Schwartz and Sandy's and something about her, James calls him out and he was like, I saw your little smirk, and then they rolled the clip of him having like a Grinch smile.
It was.
I was like, sometimes those playbacks really hit.
Yeah, that one hit really hard. It was. I was like, James, are you over exaggerating Schwartz's big smile? And no, it was a characteristic huge smile.
Yeah. Okay. And then Jax on the beach tees up that he will need to bring up Michelle texting the celebrity. And Jason, as always, is trying to just be a normal human being and is like, why are we like gossiping about this? Like, why aren't we acting normal? And I'm like, because you're on a show. Get it together.
Yeah, right.
Please.
Just don't. Yeah, either do it or don't say that.
Yeah.
But I also was like, Jason, why don't you, if you have that sort of high and mighty altruistic vibe, why not go up to Jesse right after he gets out of that pool flow, and you would have a pivotal scene on the show.
Right.
You could just say, hey, just so you know, Jax was just gossiping about you. We have all found out through the grapevine that Michelle is texting. Like, why wouldn't he take the mantle of that?
I don't think he cares.
He said, he said, if we were all strong and not, gossip fiends, we would just say this. And I was just like, why don't you just do it?
Right.
Just go yell at Jesse and say, hey,
Scared.
we're all talking about this. Yeah. Was he?
Probably.
Was he scared?
I would be.
Did you see, so then Jax, they get back. Brittany and Jax can't talk about, or Brittany doesn't want to talk about being sick, even though she goes right into the bedroom because she's really sick. And then Jax goes, Michelle, I need to talk to you. There's some big thing that I have to get off my chest. Kristen has been going around trying to ruin your life. So he paints it in the worst, the worst light.
Yeah.
And he says, that you've been texting people on the side. Michelle goes, that's not bullshit. That's true. I was texting a celebrity. We got coffee. And he goes, I hate to say this, but I heard it was sexy photos. Mm-hmm. And then
what the fuck was this Frankenstein ass sentence?
She goes, she is right. I have texted multiple people.
It was like The Simpsons. Like, I was like, what is this? I have texted multiple people.
Yeah.
It was like one of the worst examples of it I've ever seen.
Frankenbite, they call it. And
it's
whoever
terrible.
edited that Frankenbite, it didn't make any sense. If that's not what Michelle actually said next episode, then you just fooled us on purpose to try to...
But then there is a clip of... It seems like she's telling that Jesse says something about like nudie pics.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's true. I don't think that she said it in this moment. And they had to ADR/Frankenbite it to shit to get it to seem like she said that.
Right. And it looks like next week everybody's upset. Danny's crying. Jesse's crying.
Yeah.
The girls are trying to defend Brittany's ulcer or whatever to Jax.
Jax is ranting about Brittany being sick. And
how many drinks did she have on the boat? They all go 0.
So, I mean, we have to say that the Valley is good, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like...
We skipped over Kristen and Luke's counseling.
Oh, that was... We should talk about it, though, for 1 second.
My first thing is me being a bitch, but like, if someone was coming to my house, I would put some clothes on.
Oh, why? I didn't see what everyone was wearing. What was
Luke was wearing
boxers?
a tank top.
Oh.
Like trucker hat. Like, it looked like a hillbilly costume. Sorry. And slides, like Nike slides. And then Kristen, God bless her, no bra. And barefoot.
Do you think it was because it was like home casual?
I guess, but like they'd never met this man before.
Okay, that was funny. I didn't think about that. They were dressed. I guess they weren't dressed to impress. They were dressed for home. But I did think. Okay, so I am a Kristen absolute like rose-colored glasses stan, and I give her the benefit of the doubt 90% of the time, and Luke as well, because Kristen has anointed him as her significant other. But in with context and in brought to light, scrutinized, this relationship.
It was giving sad.
It was giving. I am now as worried as Jax was at the start of the season, because when you put that on paper, when you're the family counselor, when you hear that, all these things don't sound.
They
good.
had no answers.
He goes, "How long have you been dating?" And they say they look at each other to make sure they're going to say the right answer, and then it's over a year.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay,
Not very long.
Well, right. Time is subjective, right?
Sure.
But I guess in the grand scheme of like, if you're having a child, usually I think they would want more. Do you live together? Now this is a softball. The guy was giving him a softball, right?
They were like,
well,
sometimes.
And then and then Luke makes it better, and he goes, well, I have been here the entire summer, but
He called himself a Colorado resident.
right.
And I was like, why are you saying it like legal jargon?
Right. And then, because he was like put on the spot. And then he goes, well, okay, so ultimately Colorado is the final destination. And they go, wait, no.
We're
we
still
haven't-
figure that out.
Okay, so that's...
And Kristen had that sort of like sad, like making the best of things air.
Yes.
That was like kind of depressing.
Yeah, and it gets worse. It got worse.
And he's like, how about finances?
And then Kristen, that's when she leans into Luke with a big smile and says, we don't like to talk about that. That makes my vagina close up. And Luke goes, I do like to talk, about finances. And Kristen does not at all. So that's now they're 0 out of 3.
Zero talk of finance when you're actively trying to become impregnated is kind of wild. And like, I am curious about the finances because she had to sell her house. She lives in that apartment. I am curious how they're set up. Like, how much money does he make? Does he have a job besides the farm?
I don't know. And what everyone's job is always a huge question to me, because that's something that I never retain. I assume he has a job.
Right.
But the fact that they don't talk about their finances is not good, and that Kristen doesn't want to talk about finances.
Right.
That's not something that she ever wants to get into.
Sure. And the counselor then, like, the final portion of this session or whatever felt very pointed to include the group dynamic. He was like, who are the supporters in your life, because you will need a village. He was like, so Janet is not treating you well, right? And Danny and Nia have been there for you, and what about the other cast members of the Valley? He's like, you're gonna have to figure out one by one which of these castmates are gonna support you, and if you can live here and raise a family. And
then Kristen makes the saddest thing I've ever heard, where she says, maybe I will leave LA. And I was like, Kristen, don't make Luke. You got Luke on a show. On
Luke
a reality
isn't
show.
good enough to leave for.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to say that, but I would just say that you are on the Valley. You just got the reality TV spark back. You get a second season. Don't let Janet and Michelle, change your mind.
Definitely not
attitude.
Michelle.
No, for sure not Michelle. And I did think, I always judge very harshly, just like Katie judges people very harshly. I judge these counselors that come on in the Bravo universe. I thought this guy had some good, merit to what he was saying. I like the donut, center circle, the other levels of stuff that he said. And I like that he said that friends are mirrors, and like if they're not reflecting what you want from them, you need to like find new support systems. I thought that was kind of profound.
Yeah, he seemed chill. But
he did. He kind of gave them a happy ending to what seemed, at the start, kind of a bad, warning signs for their relationship.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm curious of what. Are they gonna have a group thing where everyone gets to go? Like, again this season? I don't know.
I mean, there's usually there's like a local cast trip, and if you're a successful show, you get the international cast trip. But I would assume for a new show, this is like the one trip. They're probably gonna.
I wonder how many episodes this is going to be.
I think it's like going to be
probably
only 10.
short.
I think it's going to end soon.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
It proved itself.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of proving itself, you and I, which we don't do this very often, but on Patreon this week, we talked about our summer house feelings for about 20 full minutes. And so we don't want to, step on anything we said, which is beautiful, but we also don't want to paywall our thoughts and make people who crave our summer house takes that you have to like pay $5 or whatever.
Sure.
So Amy and I are kind of retread, some thoughts a little bit, but try to keep it new about summer house.
Yeah, the main takeaway for me last week was that it was the first time that I found it harder to defend Carl and definitely Kyle.
Yeah.
Like Carl was just so sort of misguided in his communication style when I think what it was, we kind of touched on this already, but like I think he's so scared of Lindsay that he sort of preemptively got mad at what he thought she was going to say. So she didn't even stand a chance, which isn't fair, but it's like he assumed how the conversation was going to go because of their pattern.
Yes. And he thought there's like a moment in the fight where she says it's like going back to an ex or something, and she refers to Loverboy as like this comfort ex that you go back to. And I really think that got them off the rails because he thought that she was doing the thing where she's dismissing all of his any opportunity that comes for him. So he kind of lumped in this actually productive conversation that he could have had with Lindsay where she was being supportive and thought that she was denigrating it, which is what I guess she's done in the past.
Right.
And so it immediately got him off course, and then it became about their communication issues, and
right.
So it was a full flop on Carl's part, and he blamed it though on the fact that she has denigrated other opportunities, and he kind of lumped this in, even though it was almost a perfect conversation from Lindsay's standpoint and how she dealt with this.
Yeah, and unfortunately, from what I can tell from reading the comments, like he teed everyone, all of his haters, up perfectly to call him a manipulator.
Yeah.
And that like he was leading the conversation, that he like didn't let her speak or didn't want her to have an opinion or whatever. And I'm like, you fucked up.
Right. So there are people, fans, that they instantly hated Carl when the news came out, when we were all hashtag blindsided, right? And they were like, Lindsay is our god. We're going to rally around her. Carl is a demon, and he ruined her life. And then in the second episode of Summer House, everyone was like, wait, no, Carl's not a demon. Lindsay is actually awful, and she was not blindsided, and he has every right to do anything he did, and it was fully justified.
Yeah.
And she had no fans left.
Yeah.
And then
we had like a few glorious weeks where I was like, let's keep this train going. You are keeping on being heinous, and I am going to be like, I was right forever.
Yeah.
And now the tides are slowly turning it into it just being a little more complicated of that they sucked together, which is ultimately, I was against her, of course, but the reason we were so outraged last season, because we were like, this relationship is bunk. Like, this is bad. This is not earned. You guys are a bad match. You guys are delusional.
Yes.
And you're not a good match. Like, and that's ultimately the truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what Danielle said last season, who is also making it impossible for us to ride for, which we did before.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. I mean, it's like I mean, that's what makes these shows amazing, is that all of the cast members are very complicated, and and you stand them at your detriment sometimes. It's like you don't want to be like you. They're all complicated.
Yeah.
All of us are complicated.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess Lindsay. Then they become more murky. Like the conversation with Lindsay at the bridal shower. It's like she just heard that Sharon was warning, her son to maybe not get married. So it's like Lindsay becomes more defensible. So this whole thing is about who can become more defensible towards the end.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to get left with probably where Lindsay is able to justify that
she's a mastermind.
That somewhat it was a blindside.
The PR mastermind.
Because based off Carl's communication and how he's been having these conversations currently, I would say he's not very adept at communicating his feelings. Yeah. Maybe he flopped really hard on the 2 lead-up conversations to the one that he had, which we know is going to be the breakup conversation. And Lindsay was like, I don't know what the hell this guy was saying.
Right.
He said something about
I need Andy to lay it out so fucking clearly, to be like, do you think the quality of your relationship
Was
set up for success to a degree that you think it was justified to get married?
And Lindsay will say yes, and Carl will say no.
But it's like, we saw it. You can't lie about that.
So so then Lindsay has the defenses that she's already started to tout, which are that no one should have known their business. They shouldn't have had, family members counseling them. They were problems that they were going to work on. That Carl had an issue communicating, and she never knew the depth to which he saw the problems in their relationship because he wasn't outspoken enough.
Yeah.
But she thinks that everything that they were dealing with, they could have worked through if they loved each other enough. And Carl saw so many red flags and was so stressed out and worried that he thought this was indicative of a bad relationship. So they are going to end, I think, where they started, having the exact same viewpoint.
Right. Yeah, she keeps saying that, like, his parents were trashing her. And I'm like, no, they were saying that your relationship was bad. They weren't like, Lindsay's a bitch.
No.
Like, Lindsay's awful. They were like, you guys seem like really you're having some issues.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Lindsay should take stock in that Andy said, I can't believe you both were trying to get married.
Right.
I mean, like, on its face, we all see what the problem is. It's just that Carl needs to express accurately to Lindsay what he's feeling so that she doesn't get the hashtag blindside, because that's all she said.
Yeah.
All she said, I would go against Lindsay, but all she said at the end of it when this happened was that she had no idea this was coming. Mm-hmm. Whether or not it was a good or bad relationship, she didn't say. She didn't say it was like, it was perfect and beautiful. Mm. We just saw a bad relationship, and then we heard, we didn't see that at the time.
Yeah.
We just heard that Lindsay was blindsided completely, and then we said, oh, wait, the relationship is so bad, that means Lindsay couldn't have been blindsided. But technically, she still could be.
Sure. Well, her big thing is that, like, we had the bridal shower 2 weeks before, and he came with flowers, and, like, how was I supposed to know that this would end badly when that close to the wedding?
That is mixed signals, though.
I guess, but you're not broken up until you're broken up.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Here's the Carl defense. I can go on both. The Carl defense is that he, like he said, he did not go into that conversation as a breakup conversation. It was a push the wedding conversation, and she is the one who let it get to the full extent of that, which is that if you're not ready now, you'll never be ready. Let's break up.
Sure. It's like, I mean, I think that's true with anyone in history that's called off their wedding anywhere near close to their wedding.
Yes.
It was like, they probably should have known sooner.
Yeah.
They could have made the call sooner, but they were in denial.
Yeah.
And they really, really wanted it to work.
Yeah.
And then as late as someone possibly could, they were like, holy fucking shit. Yeah. We can't do this, which ultimately is a fucking miracle, a miracle. Yeah. Like, I still stand by so strongly that, like, I've said this on the pod already, that I saw comments that a girl posted on Lindsay's Instagram was like, my fiance broke up with me right before my wedding, and I'm like, thanks for being an example. And Lindsay said, fuck that coward. And I'm like, I don't know the dynamics of this random Instagram stranger, so maybe he was horrible and whatever. Right, but again, I'm like, what better?
Yeah.
This is kind of the thing with Sandoval too. I mean, his was total betrayal and like lying and like horrible shit. But like, her life is so much better now. And like, Lindsay's life will be so much better, and Carl's life will be so much better, that I'm like, we need to celebrate as much as a wedding. Yeah. A breakup that was warranted.
Yeah.
Like,
you're right.
It's a bad attitude and a bad outlook to say that like a breakup is like, that a wedding is always like the ultimate thing, because I promise you, probably like at least half of weddings like under a microscope shouldn't happen.
Yeah. It's like when they were talking about, like, when Kyle and Mauricio were talking about getting divorced or whatever, and everyone was like, 25 years of marriage is a success.
Ariana would be like, really?
Yeah. Damn, shots fired. No, but it's like, it's just a different way of looking at it, and it doesn't seem like the take that everyone would have. But when you really think about it, it ultimately was brave that Carl did this, and Lindsay will appreciate
And he was
this.
shitting his pants for the entire year they were together. So I can't even imagine how much he was shitting his pants to actually tell her it was over.
I mean, the fact that we have that conversation to look forward to is great.
I know. It's keeping me alive.
It's going to be so good. I think if I'm predicting this, we're gonna come out completely divided, and Lindsay
A house divided.
a rat house divided. Lindsay will have
Have to be our title of an episode. That's pretty good.
Okay, yeah, I think we might have used it before.
Oh shit. Or Bravo did.
Yeah, or Bravo. Bravo might have. But I think Lindsay will do enough for her absolute standum to celebrate her, and Carl, who are sympathetic to him, will be able to validate why it was so tough for him to have these conversations and know that he did the right thing, even though he might not have articulated it well enough.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he generally takes the high road publicly,
Yeah.
and that's going to be a loss for him.
Right. If he can't get into, like, if he can't really tell the stuff he was dealing with Lindsay.
Yeah, like she will talk about it ad nauseum. Yeah. She has minions. She has Gabby setting her up, being so am I correct in understanding that his mom didn't text you after the breakup? And it's like, yeah, like that's fucking awkward.
Yeah.
Like that's not that weird. It depends on your relationship with your future mother-in-law if she would reach out to you after you're broken up. Like, I don't think that's that weird.
I wish she did. I mean, I get it.
It's awkward as fuck. Like, be real.
I know, but the hard things in life, like just how I was saying, I wish Ariana would have said she regrets calling Rachel subhuman. It's like, would it be good if Sharon had texted
especially if you're like 70 years old.
Just text Sharon when you're listening to Turtle Time. Just text Lindsay and say, I am so sorry with how things turned out.
A little meme about like, all things will be good.
Oh yeah. What is
like,
that?
What
meme?
did Tyler Perry say?
He said, what did Tyler Perry say?
Write it, regret it.
That was Tyler Perry who said that? We normally save that for the end when we're asking people to write reviews. I think that Sharon, you should have texted Lindsay. The hard, awkward thing, just say, I never...
Make Lou write it, and then you can send it.
Yeah, it's just like, do the things that are hard in life.
Yeah. And I saw Carl, I think today, potentially posted a photo with his mom, and it was like, love you, Mom, and it was a photo of them together. Aww. Maybe it was Mother's Day. Sometimes Instagram serves you shit you don't know when it's from, you know?
But it could have been.
But I read the comments and I was so scared. I was like, I thought people were gonna be like, that fucking whore
who
ruined
Lindsay's
marriage. Yeah. And they were all nice.
Oh, good.
A lot of them were like, Mom knows best.
Oh, good. Okay, I like that. Well, on the sillier side, because Carl and Lindsay is very, there's a lot to think about, but on the Kyle and Amanda side, if we want to touch that for 1 second, because those are the two pillars of this episode.
Yeah.
Kyle, I mean,
he fucked up.
10 out of 10 flop.
Yeah.
In terms of an argument, in terms of his overreaction, everything about it. I mean, you couldn't have a clearer Amanda win in terms of what they're fighting about and who was the winner of that. I mean, he was too drunk to have that conversation.
He had a classic Kyle slur.
Yeah. He was drunk as hell. He didn't understand what Amanda was saying, which is that I need some life outside of Loverboy and you, which is like that is the easiest thing for Kyle to accommodate for. And just nod your head.
I said this before. I was like, even if he didn't mean it, just be like, proud of you. Please do that, whatever you think will inspire you and live your life. And I support you 100. And then it's up to her whether or not she actually does it, which if I'm going to be a stinker, maybe she would, maybe she wouldn't.
I think,
and that's up to her.
Yeah, it is. But it was just so easy for Kyle to give Amanda this in any way he wanted. He had the worst reaction to it.
Yeah.
He made it about himself, which Amanda accuses him of doing. It's like it was all about him. He said, "I need you more than ever now."
Right.
Which
he contradicted himself later because he goes when he was pissed later. It was fucked up, but it made me laugh. He was like, she doesn't work for me. If she worked for me, she'd be fired.
Yeah.
Which I was like, to that point, hire someone else that, in your opinion, does a better job.
Right.
Why do you want her to stay so bad then?
And I think Amanda is telling you that she feels lackadaisical about her job is because she's not passionate about it. So you want someone who's not passionate, who is also your wife, who hates your workaholic
a New York
ways.
City boss bitch,
right?
Danielle founder ass, girl boss.
Yeah, it seems pretty simple to me what the resolution for this is, and Kyle handled it very badly. And then I do think when he goes back in the house drunkenly and he tries to talk to Amanda and she says something like, I don't know, I forget what tips him off, like, you're only thinking about yourself or whatever. He's like, myself! And he slams the door. It's like, I don't know. It almost struck me as like this was almost like a false note. It's like you like a big freak out on camera. You're drunk, like you.
But I was just like, now I'm so aware of the comment section per our earlier conversation that I'm like, Kyle, you fucking idiot! Like everyone's waiting to cancel you, and now it's over. Like
here's what I'll say. I mean, if you hate Kyle. If you've always hated Kyle, I mean, he does everything you'd ever want throughout his life on Summer House to make you hate him.
Yeah.
If you love Kyle, we gear up for the rocky moments while we love him, and we come out
put our helmets on.
We put our helmets on we
were like, here we go, lock in.
Yeah, when he's pushing Wes down, I was like, that's the worst thing I've ever seen. He pushed Wes and he busted his nose. I was like, I accept ultimately overall.
That's true love. The highs and the lows.
Yeah, I accept Kyle for who he is. I know who he is.
Let Kyle cook.
Let Kyle cook. I feel for him. I know his true spirit, I think, as a parasocial watcher.
Yeah.
And I accept when he has those freakouts when he's drunk, because that's the whole package of Kyle.
Yeah.
But you could obviously use that against him if you want. It's
You know whose take I want on this? I want to lay out a PowerPoint for Bethany Frankel as a alcohol founder.
Oh.
Whose side do you think she would be on?
Okay, if we briefly told Bethany the whole arc of Loverboy, right, and said, here are the fundamentals.
Bethany Claus.
She would immediately, before we even started saying who Amanda was, she would have her take, and she would talk for 30 minutes of how hard it is as having one of the number one selling alcohol brands. I know everything about this.
She would probably have a weird ass take. We'd be like, huh?
That's the take? I would love to know Bethany's take on anything. You know, she put the D is back up on YouTube. Yeah. I don't know what she's doing. I don't know her rules. It's Bethany's world, and we're all just living in it, but it's not a podcast. The divorce thing is not a podcast. It's a YouTube exclusive now. Okay. I think that she must have learned that she makes way more money on YouTube, so she's creating her own way of releasing like Bethany to the world.
Yeah. Sometimes
it's
I
a work
get
in progress.
Clips on TikTok of her interviewing someone who's as combative as she is.
Yeah, the Fire Festival guy.
And it's like wild
to see them go back and forth.
It's just like a monstrosity.
Yeah, I love it. I still recommend when Jill was on Bethany's podcast. I don't know, that was like a year ago now.
Right.
It was so wild to listen to them going back and forth. Anyway, well,
she's crazy. But yeah, the last thing, the on the kind-hearted note, just the Jesse and West of it all, like Jesse being vulnerable about his health scare. And then him like crying to West, and unfortunately we don't have footage. It was audio only.
Yeah, but I was okay with that. It made it more
was, like, real. Yeah,
it made it more real that Jesse didn't, obviously want to or have that moment on camera, and it's the saddest thing you could watch. I mean, it puts all of the conflict you watch into perspective when you see what he's going through, and you can tell he can't even fake having fun. I mean, who could?
Yeah, and we already joked about this on Patreon, but West and Carl were on Watch What Happens last Thursday night, and Andy used his cancer diagnosis as a tease. Like he was like
with Jesse and Carl.
He was like, what did I say?
Oh yeah, you said West.
Oh,
but it's
sorry,
okay. Yeah,
Jesse and Carl. He was like, Jesse, I don't want to get ahead of the plot line, so we won't get into it. But like, I hope you're well. And I was like, can we not tease his health?
Yeah, I would like to know if Jesse is healthy without having to watch the rest of Summer House.
Fucking weird.
Yeah.
But I was like, I hate, like, again, we talk about stan at your own detriment, but like every turn West makes, I'm like, he has a heart of gold.
I know. He does. He's great. I mean,
he was posting on Mother's Day about like women's health, like he has his like doctor mom, and I'm like, he's a fucking good guy.
But Jesse is too.
Totally.
I feel like West is like
Sierra was out of line.
We're calling him a trash bag. Yeah, she admitted it. She knew. Yeah. She knew. She said it. She said that was too harsh. She knows. I'm just saying Jesse is getting overshadowed a little bit by the West love, but you have to say Jesse is an amazing cast member as well.
Oh my God. And he was great on Watch What Happens. He was so comfortable. Yeah. Like the two of them, they're like, I mean, West was a little more like, he was kind of like red cheeked during Watch What Happens. He was like scared to be there. Yeah. But Jesse was like, I fucking live here. Like he was like, fuck you guys.
I like when he was reacting to the people that they were like, would you have sex with them? God. And he didn't know anyone in the Bravo universe. So when he saw Sonia, He was like, no, I don't think I would have sex with
He
that
vetoed
woman.
Katie too. I was like, what's context there?
Well, I mean, he has no context.
Yeah.
I think
That was like, I think Katie and Sonia were like the only ones he vetoed.
Yeah, but I like that he just like he did not know the Bravo universe, so he has no knowledge of these people. And
Right.
He was just going off his gut, which is
Yeah.
funny.
And Carl is so asexual. He was like, they would show him a Bravo woman and he'd be like, she's gorgeous.
He said everyone. He said
He was like, she's stunning.
yeah, he green thumbed every single person,
He
right?
seems like, I know that the internet, I'm not going to dabble in the conspiracy that he is
Okay.
potentially into men,
don't-
although I think that is a fact not to be forgotten.
Okay. So did that Watch What Happens Live appearance add fodder to that? Is that a conspiracy?
Well, there's
on
that
the
whole
internet?
Steven thing. Remember, he outed him.
Yeah, well, we don't have to go too much into that.
I mean,
always
I'm just saying that's something that happened on
right,
the show.
right. I don't know. I didn't even know that. I mean, I've heard that theory, but I didn't know. But I don't.
No, I don't
I
ride or
take-
die for that. It's something that
I take what he says
sure.
as his,
Yeah, no, I know. I think it's like the dirty internet, like it's like kind of like the dark internet that is like
where's the dark internet? Reddit?
deep in the comments that are just like being bitches.
Okay. I don't.
I hope Carl does whatever he wants to do.
Yes,
That's
he
all I'm
should
saying.
for sure. Well, good. Well,
Wear whatever pants he wants.
yeah, of course. He was bummed out about those, right?
Yeah,
Okay. Well, did we talk about Summer House well enough?
I think so. I think when we get to the real nitty gritty, we'll do a full ass
Okay, good.
thing.
All right. Well, this is a little shorter than your average turtle time, only 2 hours and 40 minutes. I hope you're able to make it through all of the twists and turns of this episode. If you enjoyed listening to Amy and I and you haven't written a review yet, I would say the best thing in the world you could ever do, well, second best thing you could ever do is write a review.
Yeah.
If you liked it. I would say if you didn't enjoy this episode and you hated us for some reason, I would say, why don't you wait on that review?
Right, or regret it.
Right. Give it a few weeks, sit on it. If you absolutely still hate us in a month, write the review. 3 stars or 4 stars, whatever you want.
Or don't.
Yeah, or yeah. Or
I mean, I guess if you want to do 4, that's okay.
yeah, like a 4-star if you have to, that would be fine. And then I will say the best way. I mean, this is like you love Amy and I so much you can't get enough.
TurtleCon.
You want to go to TurtleCon with Zach Wickham and Ann Maddox.
Yeah, we might only announce TurtleCon to the paywall.
Oh, right. Oh, if you want to get all the scoop on TurtleCon, which might not ever happen, maybe it's at the Grove, at the Barnes & Noble at the Grove.
You need a password.
A password to get in.
Maybe we can create a maze and you can only get the clues on the Patreon feed.
Let's do Chud Tunnel at the Grove, where it's a fake Chud Tunnel, where it's like go by the J. Crew, turn a right on
They'll
J.
give you an envelope.
Yeah, it's like you don't watch Harry Potter, right?
I do.
But
I
the-
read them.
Okay, well, the last one of the maze puzzles in one of the movies, I forget which one it's called. The fourth one, Goblet of Fire. He has to go through a maze, and there's a little riddle person. We could set up a whole immersive.
The room of requirement.
Yeah. Right.
That's a thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. And anyway,
I solemnly swear I'm up to no good.
yeah, there's that.
Is that a thing?
Avada Kedavra. There's a lot of good Harry Potter stuff. Well, I was just saying that we could, yeah, exactly. We might only do updates of TurtleCon on Patreon. Join us there. Maybe TurtleCon won't happen, but if it does, that'll be where you can go.
So quickly backpedaling.
I just think I want TurtleCon to just be Zach Wickham, us, 20 of our most cherished Villa Rosa VIPs at Jax's Studio City, but no one can acknowledge, what TurtleCon is.
Yeah. But yeah, like we've touted before, we're on season 4, which is incredible.
Yeah.
The next one after this, well, yeah, the one right after this will be Jax getting arrested in Hawaii.
Yeah, we are at such a great spot, and I season 4 is amazing, and then we just are about to get Stassi back in our life after she has been withheld from us
Yeah.
for. half a
They
season.
showed a clip from the episode we just watched on the reunion when Sandoval goes, "I move mountains,"
And we're like right in the thick of that right now. It's so good to have that perspective. So join us on Patreon or write a review, or don't do anything and just continue being a wonderful little turtle cutie that, we'll love forever no matter what.
Yeah. And we literally just posted them today, so they will be available by the time you see them. But we created, if you love our West Wilson as much as we do, we created a fan tee that's
Yeah.
available in our merch shop.
Yeah, and 1% of all proceeds of our merch will go towards Zach Wickham's drink coupons at TurtleCon.
We'll go towards his hair fund.
Yeah, or whatever he wants to do. Anything he wants. He can do anything at TurtleCon. All right? We love you all so much. We hope you have a wonderful Thursday when this comes out, and we'll see you either on Patreon on Monday or next week.
Bye.
Bye.